I'm concerned about Zaz's growing old man tendencies. He limped in today complaining about his airline experience. I think a lot of people, I think most people flying these days are complaining about their airline experience. What happened to you?
So we fly to New York on Friday, my wife and I, and I sit down in my seat. We do the move, Dan, where we each buy an aisle seat. Okay, we're going to sit next to someone we don't know, but we both want aisle, so we both buy aisle seats. And I sit down in my seat, and I'm like, this isn't comfortable. It feels strangely uncomfortable, my seat. And after like a minute, I turn to my wife and go, I'm really uncomfortable. And she looks at me and she goes, there's no cushion on your seat. And so I look down and I see, like, you're right. It's completely flat. So, like...
Was it a full flight? You couldn't go get another aisle seat?
Well, eventually, and I'm not a complainer, so I was talking to the stewardess. I'm not complaining to the stewardess, you know?
Well, wait a minute. What's the distinction you're making there?
Happened?
If you're telling her about something that you find unsatisfactory, that's a complaint no matter how you deliver it.
I'm not delivering the information as if I'm angry or anything like that. Like, I'm telling her,
But
hey,
you are complaining.
No, but I'm like, hey, my seat, it doesn't have a cushion. It's like I'm sitting on plastic.
It's a reasonable complaint, but you're complaining.
And so one of the things I said was, are there any other seats on the flight? Like, I didn't go into, I need a refund. It's just, hey, is there another seat that I could sit in, you know? And it's like, no, it's a full flight. And so I'm like sitting on plastic the entire flight. I was so uncomfortable.
Now, is this one of those American Airlines buses that you were on, or
no?
This is a plane.
That would have been comfortable. All right, it was on JetBlue, and yeah, like I was so uncomfortable for 2+ hours.
Amin flies more than just about anybody here, I think. He does more flying. He loves getting his miles and stuff. You've noticed, Amin, that the entire flying experience has been cheapened, correct? Not like that I'm longing for the 1950s when they were serving prime rib at the front of the plane, but it's all been cheapened.
I wouldn't know, Dan. I get upgraded.
So you don't have any flight or travel complaints? You're flying in and out on those 2 flights from San Antonio, because there ain't no direct flights Miami to San Antonio.
There is. I flew it on it.
Really?
It was a small plane, but yeah.
No complaints?
No, it was great.
By the way, I felt like I was bothering the stewardess when I was telling her.
Flight attendant, damn it. That's why.
Oh, it's not.
I felt like I was...
Was it a lady? Of course it was.
Like I was bothering her. This is a reasonable thing to bring to the attention
Or a gay.
of the flight attendant, right? Like, this isn't something I should keep to myself and just hang with them, right?
Don't bend to the woke mob.
What ended up happening?
Nothing.
You just ended up flying?
What am I going to do, sit on the floor?
So flat-assed? You ended up flying flat-assed all the way?
I was getting a pain down my leg. I thought I was getting a blood clot.
I have talked to a great many of my peers, my age, about how flying destroys them now compared to how flying didn't destroy them when they were doing it in their 20s and 30s. You're of an age. This is a conversation I was having with Stugotz a lot when he was flying. You're of an age now where you have to take care of your body. That kind of flight you will wear with you for 2 weeks in your hips and elsewhere. You're going to be sleeping uncomfortably. You're going to be in some pain.
I was really uncomfortable, and I think I'm feeling it now. Terrible. I was sitting on plastic on a plane.
Basketball, basketball, basketball. Basketball is back, Jack. Time for our favorite winter sport. The summertime is over, so let's head down to the court. Time for the tip-off. Give me fast breaks on the attack. Will you shoot a 3 or take it to the rack? Basketball is back, Jack. It's a dream shake down in the post, or a killer cross you love the most. When the offense tries to run and gun, is it man to man or box and one? It's big plays and talking smack. That's how you know that basketball is back, Jack. Let me hear you say basketball, basketball, basketball. Basketball is back, Jack. 360 dunks and pick and rolls. And we're gonna watch it every day till they raise the Larry O. Hard fouls and hook shots. A dagger three and hack a shack. If you say this game's the best, I'll say's a gag. Basketball is back, Jack. Basketball is back, Jack. Basketball is back. Basketball is back, Jack.
WFAT.
In terms of what New York is going to experience tonight, is it the biggest stuff since the Giants were playing the undefeated Patriots, or the Yankees and Arizona after 9/11?
This is the biggest sporting event in the history of New York City. Easily. It's tonight because you've got, obviously the Knicks are up 2-0, looking very good in the finals. You've got all the celebrities that already come on a Tuesday night in January, but now it's an NBA Finals game, the first one in 27 years.
Go on.
Then you've got the sitting U.S. president is going to be there.
He will be sitting because he can't stand anymore.
Then you've got the most popular mayor in the history of New York will be there as well,
Objection.
sitting upstairs.
Objection.
Sitting upstairs and sitting with the people.
Rudy was America's mayor.
When you add all those things up, Dan, the stakes, the combatants who will be on the floor, Victor Wembanyama, obviously the most remarkable athlete really right now, and then all of the extra people in the peanut gallery, if you will. There's nothing like it. Not a Super Bowl, not a World Series, not Marilyn Monroe and Joe DiMaggio, none of that.
Can I go a hypothetical Super Bowl? Jets, Giants.
That's not real, and it's never going to happen.
Saying that would be bigger.
Can I throw you Mexico starting the World Cup this week in Mexico against South Africa? Nope.
That's not New York City, though.
No, I know, but like it might not even be the biggest event this week.
I object to a number of things Amin said, but you can't say Wembanyama is the best athlete going right now when Shohei Ohtani still exists and has an ERA under 1.
That's right.
Dan, Shohei Ohtani walks down the street, Victor Wembanyama walks down the street. Any street in the world, where are people gravitating? Where are they gravitating?
Well, in Japan, I don't believe that it's going to be Wembanyama.
Okay, so basically you did one of those maps, where they say, oh, the
You
whole
said
country.
any street.
Okay, any street outside of Japan.
Land does vote.
Regardless, I would say to you, just in terms of athletic feats, the moment that Wembanyama starts being able to do everything he's doing in basketball and then have an ERA under 1 as well, then he will be in the conversation with Shohei Ohtani.
You guys are doing a weird conversation about who's better at their sport. I'm telling you, I said the most remarkable, the guy who is drawing attention, the guy who makes grandmothers who don't watch basketball turn on the TV. They're not doing that for Shohei because Shohei, as great as he is, he might be the greatest baseball player ever. He hasn't cracked through like this guy has cracked through. This guy cuts across every single demographic.
My wife and I were in New York City this weekend. On Saturday, we went to the NBA store, which was slammed, all right? Just so much Knicks gear being bought.
It was just me doing it.
But we went to the NBA store. We wanted to buy my younger son a couple of shirts. We wanted to buy him a couple of Victor Wembanyama shirts. Like, he likes Wembanyama. And so we're like really sheepishly walking through the store looking for the Wembanyama shirts amongst all the Knicks stuff and afraid that someone's going to get mad that we're walking around with Wembanyama shirts.
I've got a number of things that I want to get to, including these games in New York in just a second. I was surprised, perhaps I should not have been, given the way the internet connects people today. In New York, it happened to me several times where somebody's just pointing at me and saying 82-0. And I was surprised. It happened to me quite a bit this weekend in Miami, too, where evidently this game that has gone viral, that people think that we rigged around here, even though I'd never played it, didn't know what they were talking about. And when they made me play it the other day, I was watching and seeing it for the first time, and all my questions were genuine because none of the things that we did were rigged, but evidently people are shocked that on our first try, we were able to go 82-0. What is the name of this game? I've only played
You
it
said
once.
it several times already.
Literally said it.
Okay, so 82-0 is the name of the game. I didn't know that was the name of the game. Is the name of the game 82-0 or is it 82? Is it because people were just saying 82
No,
to
we
me?
just told you that it was 82-0 several times.
Okay, people were just saying 82 to me, but people think that we rigged this because you guys are still playing it and unable to get.
I've never gotten
82-0.
82-0. I've never done it.
How many times have you played it?
I played it so many times this weekend that I've gotten some 82-0s. You got to have Wilt, though.
Yeah, you gotta- I
And
told
it's-
you that, yeah.
I've probably played it hundreds of times, and I've gotten like 2 82s in it. It's like insanely hard.
By the way, there are two weird cheat codes in it. Like the Wilt 60s Wilt is the #1 cheat code, which I knew. But I've also been told that Washington Wizards Russell Westbrook is another cheat code, which is so odd.
Can you guys play for me? This is authentic. We did not make any of this up. I did not know what I was doing, and I won on the first try somehow. Let's play at least a little bit of this.
What a day! You're welcome.
Looks like 7th Avenue outside the Garden.
That's what it's going to be tonight. People are really mad at Trump for showing up. He's going to make traffic a nightmare. He's going to make everything there inconvenient, wildly inconvenient. Nobody wants him there. Like, he is going to a place where fewer people want him. This one's got to hurt, right? Where the personal stuff is. He fancies himself a New York guy. He wants to be in the center of this, and wherever it is that this person is human, and I don't know that he is necessarily, but wherever it is that he can hurt, going back to what it is he fancies his city, nobody wants him there, and he's going to get booed out of the building.
We're an empath.
I wasn't sure if I thought he was going to get booed until now. You see over the last few days how they're closing off 7th Avenue. You're not going to be able to do a watch party outside the building. It's going to take hours to get into the building. It's going to be TSIA-style screening. There may be people who are getting there late, and it's all as a result of Trump. Now I know he's going to get
We were talking the other day about in the history of South Florida, there have been very few tickets like Colombia, Portugal for the World Cup, which starts in a week. And we were talking specifically about the fact that poor people just do not have access to being able to get anywhere close to the intimacy of the energy and the joy.
Forget poor people. Let's not mischaracterize that the way that many people are. There are plenty of upper middle class people that are shut out because of what tickets have become in this country.
But what's going to happen outside of Madison Square Garden today? By banning the party, you're not allowing any of the people who don't have the access, who can't afford to get in.
You can watch it on TV.
You're
That's
not
free time.
allowing them to celebrate in an organic fashion with each other in some place that's not a sports bar, because that I'm having a hard time, articulating. I'm surprised you're here today. You were in San Antonio, and I thought you'd be in New York. I'm having a hard time articulating to the audience how seismic a sports event this is in that city. The fact that they're stunned to be leading the finals 2-0. 2-0, I saw this is happening all over. Bill Maher the other day cut short his show because he's like, I got to watch the Knicks game. I've been waiting for this since high school. You got a whole bunch of people who have checked out on the Knicks for 25 years because they're tired of getting embarrassed, coming back to the bandwagon because it's so much fun to be a part of something they never thought they'd actually see.
No, it's like I said, this is the biggest, by far, sporting event ever. You said Jets-Giants. That doesn't have the same hold as the Knicks do. I can't remember who said it first, but think about New York City, Manhattan, the real estate. Look how many basketball courts there are. Like, hey, we could have had another building here and charge exorbitant rents and all that. No, we're going to play basketball here, every other block. It's the city's game. People care about the Knicks in a way that's weird. They cared about them when they were bad. Now they're actually not only good, they're kicking ass. They're on a historic run, and it's all culminating tonight Game 3, the first game in 27 years in New York, I cannot stress enough. We are in a weird kind of, the city might be burnt down if the Knicks go ahead and go up 3-0 in this series. Like, you're talking about no watch parties. I'm laughing because, like, you don't think the people are still going to be outside? And they say, oh, we're going to cordon off.
They've just moved the watch party somewhere. It's like they're doing one at Central Park.
Zaz, these people aren't watching. They just want to while out. So if you say 34th to 29th, shut down, 7th and 8th Avenue, guess what? Outside that cordon is going to be mobs of people. I was there when they beat Cleveland, and they had that area cordoned off, and people were climbing over the barricades. So the whole thing with the president coming, it's a really weird scenario because now you've got, beyond NYPD, you've got Secret Service. Like, but have we ever put the president in a situation where there might be 500,000 people who don't give a shit about anything?
Where there might be a riot.
There might be a riot. So I don't know how this is going to go. My guess is he's going to leave well before the game's over. He can't stay until the end of the game.
Given the way these games have gone, they've both been close late, and Amin has been right about the Spurs' inexperience late in these games because they've coughed it up late. But I want to talk about the series. I don't want to apologize to you until it's time to apologize. I don't want to apologize to you before we're actually wrong on anything. But the thing that I wanted to ask you guys, because I want to ask you a number of questions. The first is Jalen Brunson playing to his averages? Because this is a wildly inefficient Brunson that's beating the Spurs. Like, do you believe Jalen Brunson has been good in this series by his standards? Yes or no?
I would say yes, because he's done in the fourth quarter of these games what needs to be done to win the game. So in that sense, yes, he's doing what he needs to do.
Those are two different things, though, because I don't know what was he in the first game. He was 7 for 25 in the second game, and he was like 12 for 31. So he's shooting about 30%. And honestly, the reason that the math has always been against the little guy in this kind of scenario, all of history as your reference, Isaiah Thomas being the outlier, this is why the small guy doesn't win these games. Because he generally doesn't have enough around him to overcome the inefficiencies. When you run into a top 5 defense, you're not going to be the same player that you were. But Amin, I'll ask you the question. Yes, he's won the game late. In the last few minutes of the last 2 games, he's outscored the Spurs 10-5. But Amin, has he played to his standards? Yes or no?
His standards is winning, so yes. That's what he's there for.
That sounds corny, but I think you're 100% right.
That the standard is
totally right.
We need this. We need a win. He says, I got you. Give me the ball. Get out of my way.
Yep.
And this is all kind of the perfect storm of them embracing Mike Brown's offensive adjustment that he wanted to do at the beginning of the year, and everyone was kind of grumbling. But the idea is that, hey, we can put Cat in a high post and have him spray the ball all around. But there comes a moment where it's like it's the end of the game. We're going to put the ball in Jalen Brunson's hands, and he's going to get it done. Then everyone's percentages are down. Everyone's shooting poorly in these NBA finals.
Brunson is shooting 34% for the series, and for most of the playoffs, he shot the ball really well, actually.
Everyone's percentages are down, and that's fine because, again, we understand that these are 2 great defenses. We understand that there's higher stakes. We understand that the referees are letting a lot of contact go, basically, and the idea is, can you get it done when you need to get it done?
I know that the Spurs, obviously down 0-2, we can point to them and say, obviously they're in trouble. But here's the reason that I think they're in trouble beyond the 0-2. It's not just that Brunson, I don't think, is playing as well as he usually does. And it's not just that Karl Anthony Towns has been better than Wemby over the 2 games. The refs tried to give that game to the Spurs.
No, they didn't.
You give Cat that 4th foul and take him out for the 3rd quarter when he won game 1, and it was a bullshit 4th call. Like, you do not do that to a star player. You know the situation. You know that he's got 3 fouls. They knocked him out for the 3rd quarter. They gave Mitchell Robinson a bullshit tech. Tony Brothers made a call from 70 yards away when he was the official that was least qualified to make the bad call.
Spoken like a Knicks fan.
They tried to give him the game, man. When you sit there and you give Karl Anthony Towns a real – that was a bullshit 4th foul on Karl Anthony Towns that knocked him out for the 3rd quarter.
I sound like Andre the Giant.
You're a pathetic shell of a human being.
Hulk Hogan!
Yeah, I thought he fouled him. I don't think that's a bullshit call. I think you could argue that there were a lot of non-calls. I think that's an argument, but to say that foul was bad or wrong or not appropriate, I don't think that's correct. I think, look, for the most part, I think the refs have allowed the players to win or lose the game. They have done a great job of just staying out of the way.
Let's talk about the end of that game, and let's talk about Wembanyama for a second. How did you like the last shot?
I thought the last shot was fine. He was wide open. They drew up a play for him to have a wide open 18-footer. I mean, you're shaking your head. That's an unbelievable look with the game on the line.
So there's a lot of things that's wrong. We'll start with, it started Western Conference Finals Game 1, him taking that three-pointer. I told you all that's a bad shot because he's not a good shooter. He's a streaky shooter. That, knowing time and clock, that's a bad shot. But what it did, everyone gave him a parade. I said, oh, my God, he's so amazing. And now every
you're talking about the long three-pointer.
Yes. Every time Victor Wembanyama takes a jump shot, it's a validation in his mind of like, yeah, that's what I do. That play was designed to be a pick and roll. He's supposed to roll. If you go back and look at the clip, you've got Josh Hart on one block and OG Anunoby on the other block, and that paint is wide open. And Fox turns, and he's like, oh, but here we go. Mitchell Robinson's trying to go 2 on the ball. If Wemby rolls, all he's got to do is just throw it up to the sky, and that's it. Game over. But Wemby pops. Why? Because I'm a shooter. Oh, do you guys remember Game 1 against the conference finals? I hit that shot. But that's not a good shot because he's not that good of a – it's not Steph Curry popping. And so when we're talking about high percentage shots, and more importantly, when we're talking about the follies of youth, of not understanding where is my bread buttered, that's what happens. It was a bad shot because he had a better opportunity going to the rim, but he didn't even explore it. He didn't even think about it because in his mind, this is the best shot I can take.
I would have preferred for him to go looking for a foul call. I also would say, Zaz, that while an 18-footer as your last shot when the defense clamps down for any other human being is probably a decent look, he can get an open 18-footer anytime, anywhere against any player who has played throughout history. There's never going to be a time that he can't get an 18-footer. So I do think it's the shot the Knicks would have wanted him taking, which is what would make it a less than good shot. It's one of the things that he does as a player that skews everything. The probabilities tilt in his favor because he's taller than everybody else, and the athleticism makes it so that there is no stopping him from getting a 17 or an 18-footer whenever he wants it.
I mean, we know why he took that shot because you have two options there. You could either go to the basket, maybe you're fouled, maybe you're not. It could wind up being a super difficult shot, or you're guaranteed a wide-open 18-footer, which, like you said, you could have at any time. So he took the option of, all right, I'm going to get the shot that I know I can get. You drive to the basket, you don't know what kind of shot you're going to get. Heck, you might get fouled and you can't even get a shot up and you don't get the call. He chose to go with what he knows he can do. That's why I didn't have a problem with it. I had a problem with the 2-for-1 shot he took with 30 seconds left, guarded from 20 feet away.
These are tired shots.
That was a bad shot.
He's taking tired shots. In fact, his iconic one from the previous series, he was dog-tired before that shot. It just so happened to go in. His shot selection seems to be based on his conditioning right now.
Fatigue makes cowards out of everybody, and what happened at the end of that game. Let's talk before. I'd like to get your analysis on what happened with 10 seconds left. The Spurs have the ball. The game is tied. Wemby has secured the rebound, and I don't think I have this wrong when I say just about any time in that situation, you either call a timeout or you have your best player keep the ball. You don't throw it as an outlet pass to the guy who had 21 turnovers in 2 games and in Castle and hasn't been very good in this series. You don't treat that last possession like it's a fast break in the second quarter of a regular season game. But, obviously it didn't work, and we wouldn't be talking about it if it hadn't gone off of Castle's back and gone out of bounds. It would have been a normal outlet pass with 10 seconds left, and you're not allowing a very good defense with the Knicks to set because you're trying to take advantage of the fact that you already have the advantage of moving downhill. But getting Wemby some rest there and getting a timeout and gathering yourself obviously would have been better than what they've chosen. Once you have the ball with 10 seconds left in a tie game, there's no circumstance under which you can be allowing the Knicks to play for the win in regulation. Like, once you grab the ball off the rim with 10 seconds left, that game, the regulation of that game has to end with the Spurs taking a shot. It cannot end any other way. So what did you see, Amin, at the end of that game that broke down? And I'm with Mike on the analysis. Why wouldn't and how couldn't Wemby be tired? And, of course, those are the plays made by dead legs, fatigue, and the first thing to go with exhaustion is judgment.
Yeah, and I think also this is where the inexperience comes in, where you are not cognizant or aware of, hey, I'm tired. Hey, I have to ration out energy to have something left here. Hey, I got the rebound, tie game under 10 seconds. We're not calling timeout. It's my world. And instead, I'm like, oh, let me pass to Steph Castle, which is something that he never does. They usually let Wemby bring it up. At the same time, I'm Steph Castle. It's game 2 of the NBA Finals. Maybe I should look up. Maybe I should pay attention.
I want to ask you about something that you just casually mentioned about the lack of a timeout. That in that scenario, does Wemby just usually push forward there? Because you could argue that it's also inexperience from the head coach in that situation.
No, they typically in those scenarios don't call timeout. They don't call timeout. And it's funny, Stan Van Gundy was on the radio this weekend, and he thought that after the Brunson make one, miss one free throw, they shouldn't have called timeout there either. They should have just played live. I was like, I disagreed as a coach. The reason why they called timeout is because 1 second earlier they just messed up and they're discombobulated. It's a young team, guys. That's what happens when it's your first time at the rodeo. It just happened 2 weeks later than I said it would. That's the only difference.
Let me read some Wemby quotes to you guys and ask you what you make of this. On the last shot, he says, quote, "Of course I like the shot. I feel like in this moment you need to shoot to score. In moments like this, results matter more than process. We just need to score. I just need to score. That's the whole point." That's what he says there. And this quote was confusing to me. He says, quote, "Personally, I think I could have been better in recovering from the high of the conference finals. But I mean, here we are. We can't change the past now. We have to. We're already focused on game 3. What the hell does that mean?
I think he's uncommonly honest and introspective. And what he's saying is, yeah, we won the conference finals. I lost my mind because it's the mountaintop and we beat the champs and all that stuff. And that energy drop or shift from winning one series to going to have to compete in another one is something that, again, a young player and a young team, they're not accustomed to.
I was wrong about that. Like, I pushed back last week on the idea that I think it was Nick Wright who came here and said it, how they were way too emotional after winning the Western Conference Championship, and there's going to be a huge letdown. And I thought that was nonsense. It looks like it was not nonsense, and Victor Wembanyama is saying there that it wasn't nonsense.
Whatever you guys remember from 2010 and 2014 about the Miami Heat, where Mike Miller is losing his shoe, that's Shamet now.
What a moment.
That's Shamet for the New York Knicks. And whatever it is are the emotional moments for you, there are a generation of Knicks fans that will remember that the Spurs went to that bullshit of fouling Mitchell Robinson and he made 2 free throws with a broken hand and stopped it. They gave off. The Spurs gave off in trying to get a second quarter advantage and extend a lead to double digits. They gave off that they want Mitchell Robinson off the floor, that they're trying to do that ticky-tack bullshit of fouling a guy.
It's loser shit. It really is.
It is loser shit, but then to lose the game because he makes 2 free throws, you lose by a point. The guy with the broken hand made 2 free throws. People are going to remember that Mitchell Robinson stopped them from fouling him and stayed in the game by having a better shooting percentage with a broken hand from the free throw line than he would under other circumstances when his hand's not broken. To me, when I'm watching that, I feel so bad for Mitchell Robinson. Here's a guy who's worked all his life to be good at basketball, and he's put in a situation where the world is watching him, just waiting for him. He's alone on the stage with just his thoughts. Here, big fella, you're bad at this. This is an insecurity for you. Here it is in front of everybody. We're going to keep fouling you on purpose, not even bother playing basketball, and just put you in the center of your insecurities.
Empathy.
Let's go to Mike Brown here, reacting in a way that surprised me to the idea that Ben Stiller is a celebrity who's at his games.
This is a great day for me today. For the first time, I got a chance to meet Ben Stiller. I don't know if he's in here or not, but I actually gave him a handshake and a hug. I got my man Fat Joe sitting in the back. This is a great day for Mike Brown. Yeah, I'll take it. Appreciate you being here.
You got to play it cool if you're Mike Brown there. What are we doing?
It's a cool story for him. Him and Karl Anthony Towns in particular have a huge opportunity to totally change the narratives around them and basically become Joe Namath in that town. Like, if Mike Brown, a vagabond head coach that is usually a punchline that is always super easy to let go, if he is the head coach that ends up doing this for the New York Knicks, he's an all-time legend. Hall of Famer. He is, I mean, forget it. In that town, made man for life.
I'm in on Karl Anthony Towns. Like, I like his whole story.
Well, he'll remind you about it. I think he has a pretty keen awareness of what he has in front of him right now,
He's
being
allowed
like
to remind
an
us.
MVP. I think he's very smart. Like, I think he has an eye towards legacy building right now, and he's taking those opportunities.
His mother died of COVID. He's played through that, obviously. He is allowed to remind us as much as he wants.
Agreed.
About what happened.
He's been better than Wemby in this series. I don't think any of us had that. I don't think anybody that was doing the predictions on these games would tell you that they would watch the first two games of this series. If you asked anybody to sit in front of a television for the first time to watch basketball with no familiarity about who the players, who the names, who the stories are, they would tell you that Wemby is not as good as Karl Anthony Towns. That's weird.
If you said to someone, if you have a casual fan watching because they heard that the best player in the league is playing in these NBA finals, like, whoa, that guy Towns, you're right. He's so good.
Really unique skill set for his size. We were talking last week whether or not Anthony Davis is the only comp for someone who would give Wemby those kinds of problems on both sides and fatigue him. Because if Wemby's fatigued, at least part of it is because that's a big-ass body that he's banging against when he's guarding him. And of course he's going to get tired there. But the skill set of Anthony Davis hasn't been able to make a three since the bubble. Like, you have to guard Karl Anthony Towns out there, always. Like, you cannot leave him open or even mildly contested. He's a three-point shooting champion.
Yeah, and it's not just the shooting, Dan. It's like you said, it's the physicality. It's the bumping them, and what's happening is because Victor Wembanyama doesn't have the best discipline, especially when he gets tired, he closes out hard. They're attacking the closeouts. You saw OG Anunoby do it. You saw Karl Anthony Towns do it. You saw Mikal Bridges do it, where Wemby's leaving his feet, and they're looking for it, waiting for it, and then they're driving, and he can't recover because he's out of position. But I did want to point out something. I got the screenshot of that last play right here, and I'm going to do a little Zard the Telestrated for you here. You guys see here, Mitchell Robinson is over here. Mikal Bridges, here's Fox. Look at all of that lane right there. Who's going to stop him, OG or Josh Hart? At best, that's a foul. If I could do video, which I can't because of rights fees,
roll it.
But if I could roll it one extra second where Fox picks up the ball to throw the pass, you can see he's trying to lead him. Like, guy, go. But Wemby wants to be here. You know why? Because Zaz was gooing on himself when he hit a three.
And if Hart collapses on Wemby, there is another option. I know it's Castle, but he's out there in the corner. He's not pictured on this.
The thing about that is that only Antetokounmpo and Wemby are players who could dunk that. Like, from the free throw line, that opening can result in either a dunk or a foul because of his length. I should have mentioned earlier, by the way, when I was saying Anthony Davis and Karl Anthony Towns are the only ones with the unique skill set enough to be giant and take you out to the three-point line. Obviously, Jokic is also that. But it's a very small list throughout the history of time that could create that set of problems for Wemby. Are you guys, Zaslow has said that if Game 2 went to the Knicks, the series is over.
At halftime of Game 2, I tweet out, the series is over. Like, the Knicks were up by 4 at halftime. It felt like they were up by 20.
And then Wemby went for 22 on 9 of 13 shooting. He had 5 rebounds, 3 blocks. He was really good in the second half. And when they were down by 14, they cut to the video of him reaming out the entire bench. He scores 7 of the points as they make this comeback. He has the shot with a minute left that goes in, that he gets the and one. He makes the stop late on Brunson, guarding him one-on-one, and then the turnover happens. But he was great. Like, I feel like we're a bit overreactive to how gassed and how poor he played.
They've won 13 in a row.
Right, that's the Knicks.
But
I'm not
Jeremy-
talking about the Knicks. I'm talking about Wemby individually.
But Jeremy, the face of the league, the conversation that Amin's having, any street in America, Wemby is the athlete for our times. You can't let Brunson take the game from you in the last 15 seconds.
Well, he missed the shot.
Well, and also made the mistake before the missed shot. Like, Wemby lost that game at the end. If these guys are going to say to me, Brunson is there only to win, and therefore the fact that he's shooting 30% for the series doesn't matter because the result is all that matter. If the Wemby quote is, of course I liked the shot, I feel like in this moment you need to shoot to score. In moments like this, results matter more than process. If result matters more than process, Wemby lost that game at the end, hard stop.
And his process sucked too. That's the other part, right? That's the other side of that coin. Jeremy, you're saying, but Brunson lost the game a second earlier.
Brunson missed the shot too.
He missed the shot, but he missed a shot in a tie game. Tie game. And then Wemby makes a turnover that makes it not a tied game anymore. And by the way, before that turnover, he had the 2-for-1 shot where he took that terrible air ball three. Like, he had an awful end to the game, decision-making wise, process-wise. That's a bad shot. That's a bad turnover. That's a bad foul. That's another bad shot. They have 4 straight things where he made the wrong process.
Really bad.
Forget about in the same way that I go back to Western Conference Finals Game 1, that process sucked, and everyone was swooning because he made the shot. But I'm the only one sitting here saying, that's not a good shot.
You weren't the only one. I was right there with you, and they were making fun of me for the fact that he was shooting with 26 seconds left, trying to get a 2-for-1 when the carom would have made it under 24 seconds.
I totally get what we're talking about here. I just think that he stepped up in a way in the second half that was impressive. We've seen other legendary players have the type of first half that he did in the NBA Finals and then cower under the pressure of what that was. Yes, young player, making mistakes late, being in a situation he's never been in before. But this guy at least stepped up and had the second half they needed him to have.
They have no chance tonight.
To get back.
They have no chance tonight.
Let me backtrack for a second because history doesn't remember these details. This is what history remembers. Karl Malone and Stockton were great in that series. And late, Michael Jordan pickpocketed their best play.
Slapped it right out of his hand.
And then made the shot at the end. These things aren't remembered forever because of what happened in the third quarter, Jeremy. They're not remembered forever what happened early in the fourth quarter. The way they're remembered forever is what did you do at the end? And that's the way it works. So, yes, a great player was great for most of that second half because he's taller and better than most of the people out there. But when it came to fatigue time, his judgment collapsed.
And the other thing I would say is, Jeremy brings up that he had a strong second half. It was a big part of that comeback, obviously. They didn't run. So this is the part where I hold Mitch Johnson and the Spurs players accountable. The entire first half, they didn't run a single play for him. I charted it. I sat there and said, every single one of these plays, he had, I think, 4 or 5 scoring attempts. They were all based off of, the thing that we tried didn't work. Oh, here comes Wemby. Let's give it to him there. In the second half, they did a better job. Again, I think the first 2 minutes of the third quarter, they didn't run a play for him. Every team knows, like, hey, I got to get my big guy involved. They start game halves and quarters with, we're going to run a couple for the big fella to get him involved. These guys have perhaps the best player in the league, and I got to tell him, he's got to yell at him in the middle of a timeout, in the middle of the second half, get me the goddamn ball.
What did you make of the adjustment? We've seen Wemby on Brunson a little bit, but in Game 2 it felt like we saw it a little bit more. I actually think that that's the play. I know Brunson is quick, and it may seem counterintuitive because you're worried about Wemby's fatigue, but his size and length makes up for the steps that he would lose, and it seems like he's certainly bothering Jalen Brunson. Why wouldn't he? Do you think we see more of that?
No, because I think that's fatiguing too. Running around and having to keep up with Brunson because Brunson moves a lot. And again, the Knicks have kind of transitioned away from just give the ball to Brunson and everyone watches. Well, they give it to Towns. Now Brunson is going, he's setting down screens. He's popping or curling or cutting, depending on where the read is. By the way, Knicks had a bunch of looks right at the rim because the Spurs defense, while amazing in pressure, once it comes to the half court, those kids were falling asleep. There were backdoor cuts left and right. They had no idea what coverage they were in multiple times. I've never seen this in an NBA Finals game. Multiple times they're running down the court. What are you talking about? Who do you got? It's the NBA Finals. But this is all part and parcel of what I'm talking about. This is their first time at the rodeo.
Going to learn a little bit about Wemby tonight, right? I mean, like, they're down 0-2, going on the road in the finals. Obviously, the end of game 2, disaster for him. We're going to learn a little bit about him this evening.
So 5 times in NBA playoff history, the home team has lost the first 2 games and then ended up winning that series.
Not in the finals.
That's never happened in the finals.
Right.
So already he's in unprecedented territory. Like we say, don't go down 0-3. Already we're in unprecedented territory. So the one thing that I would say is, if you want to build a legacy, if you want to have a legacy-defining moment in game, it's got to be tonight.
There is such incredible theater tonight for all the reasons we laid
amazing.
out. It pretty much has everything. The only thing that this game is missing to take it next level is that added juice of animosity. Like, I know they've played in the finals before, but
you
these
don't
aren't
usually
rivals.
get animosity in the finals.
But
though.
like a story like a foil, it doesn't really have that, and that's the only way that it probably goes the next level. But this is appointment television, not just for sports fans. This is a tale of the human spirit right now.
Amin has said a couple of times during this segment, first time at the rodeo, and I'm curious as to why it is the rodeo gets that distinction of all the places in the world that you can go and be awed the first time.
WFAT.
I don't know the context of what it is that you guys were talking about that revealed this about Chris Cody.
Yeah, Chris asked me what the sound from the first down for the Dolphins games were. And I said
it's just a noise I've made throughout my entire life. It's just like I just did it. Hoo-wah!
Yeah.
And to me, that's another Miami Dolphins first down.
Well, let's find out.
Hoo-wah!
Let's find out if your dad knows, because he's not a real moviegoer. Instead of impersonating the sound, do you have the actual sound? Greg Cody, do you know who's making this sound?
hoo-ah.
I do. Clark Gable.
Come on.
It's the famous actor. Rock Hudson.
Oh, this is great. He doesn't know it.
It's No, it's the famous actor. And I got to pin his name down because I don't think
You should be able to say this immediately.
I don't think it's Robert De Niro.
No.
Hoo-ah.
But I think it's
In the neighborhood.
In the neighborhood. Give me a second.
Hoo-ah.
Robert De Niro.
Humphrey
Al Pacino.
Hey, there you go.
If someone said that in his headphones, you're fired.
Now,
No,
what movie?
nobody said
What
that.
movie?
It's APEC. What movie?
Streetcar Named Desire.
You ain't you. No, you're not man enough to know the truth. Something like
No.
That's a few
That's
good
the one I
men,
bought.
and that's a few
brutal.
good men.
Good answer. Good answer.
And it's
That
not,
is
you're
brutal.
not man enough to know the truth. I
You
can't-
can't handle the truth.
Don't know.
That's
Don't know?
it's a different
Damn it.
movie. Pacino was not
Told me
in
you're
it.
not man enough to know the truth.
That was originally a line. Nicholson ad-libbed. They
Put
kept
it on the poll
that
at
was
Le
Nicholson.
Batard Show. Was Pacino in a
Thank you. Back here at the end of the break of the first hour, here with Chris Cody. Chris, what do you think of your performance in the first hour?
Rough start for me. You could hear the weekend in my voice. I'm going to keep chopping, though. Rely on my teammates. I'm going to turn into Mike at a pickup basketball game. Set some screens, get some rebounds. But I think we can have a good show today.
You guys did get off to a early lead here in the first, so what do you guys have to do to continue this momentum into the rest of the show?
Keep drinking water. Keep the phlegm out of the throat. Give a good couple before I talk. Just the usual stuff. But we're grinding here. We're going to get a win today.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Holy shit, the Stanley Cup final.
This is the United States of Tortorella.
How did it become that? How did it become the United States of Tortorella? How do the Vegas Golden Knights go up 4 goals, cough up a 4-goal lead in the third period, which has never happened before? A team has never before coughed up a 4-goal lead in a third period and then lost the game. They didn't lose the game. Vegas didn't lose the game. What happened to momentum? How does Vegas win that game if momentum means anything? Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. How the hell does Vegas win that game if momentum means anything? Because that is a gut punch if you're Carolina. You had to feel like you were ordained to win that game once you come back from 4 goals down.
The puck was kicked in off the back of the skate of the Carolina goalie. That's how Vegas won. Like, they shouldn't have won the game.
There have been, I think, multiple 2-goal comebacks throughout this series. Every game, I think, is featured.
Game 1,
like that.
Carolina was up 2-0. Vegas came back and won. Game 2, Vegas was up 2-0 in the third. Carolina came back and won. And this one here, 4-goal lead, but Vegas still won.
Most dangerous lead in sports. I guess if it's a 4-goal lead, that's extra dangerous. Yeah, it's been an unbelievable series. You have iconic moments. What Braden McNabb is doing, not like anyone ever doubted that he was going to play right away. Took a puck directly to the face. Hospitalized immediately. Heroic performance in Game 3.
You know how bad that hurts, Dan? You take a puck right to the nose?
Well, this is, as far as I can tell, the only thing that Tortorella has done is made sure that all the Vegas players take pucks to the nose and also freezes out the media. Roy, correct me if I have this wrong. I really thought that the only way that Vegas would win this series is if the games were low scoring.
Yeah, me too. I knew it was going to be close, and I was right as far as the Road Dog is concerned because they covered in all 3 games. But I thought it was going to be low scoring, good goaltending, good defense. I was wrong on that.
Dan, they scored the 4 goals to tie it in the third period in the 3 goals. First 3 goals were in a span of 39 seconds. 39 seconds! They scored 3 goals to make it a 1-goal game.
We almost forgot the fact that Mitch Marner had a hat trick.
He's going to win Conn Smythe if Vegas
yes,
wins.
absolutely. He leads everybody in points and goals.
Such a disaster for Toronto.
Oh, I need one of those to cash on the DraftKings Sports app. Let me tell you, Mitch Marner doing an incredible thing right now. Just like Mike Brown and Karl Anthony Towns are changing the narrative around their careers.
Mitch
Marner was the scapegoat for a loser franchise in the postseason. The Toronto Maple Leafs, everybody's ire was directed to Mitch Marner, who's one of the best two-way players in the game. He has been unfreaking real.
Dan, he's from Toronto, and they ran him out of town. And his first year gone, he's probably going to – he might win the Stanley Cup. It's 2-1. Might win the Stanley Cup. And if they do, he's probably going to win Conn Smythe.
And it was an acquisition that, as it looks right now, with Vegas up 2-1 in the series, did swing NHL history because it wasn't widely reported, but Mitch Marner had a decision to make this offseason, and Carolina was in that hunt. And he decided to pick Vegas.
Mitches are having a moment right now. Mitchell Robinson, Mitch Johnson.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. I don't think he goes by Mitch Robinson. Are Mitches having a moment right now?
And it was a fairly easy decision for Mitch Marner to leave Toronto. They doxed his home address after they lost to Florida. They doxed his home address. Obviously, he's not going to stay there.
I do understand why you did that Mitch thing, but I don't think Mitch Johnson is having any kind of moment right now, unless it's a bad moment.
He's coaching his way to the NBA Finals.
I'm trying my best. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, this isn't going a long way to debunk that whole main character syndrome that the Toronto Maple Leafs fans have, but I get it. I did not want to enjoy this Stanley Cup final. I don't like either of these teams, but this is just unfreaking real.
When you say that Karl Anthony Towns and Mike Brown have a chance to rewrite everything that has been said about them, is there any reason you're not throwing Mikal Bridges in there? Is there a particular?
Yeah, it's not like that. Like Mikal Bridges hasn't been a total joke. The way that Karl Anthony Towns is made fun
number
of.
1 pick.
Yeah, Karl Anthony Towns is made fun of for a lot of different reasons, and now he's going to be like an all-time New York legend if he keeps doing it this way. Mikal Bridges, I don't think people think of him like that. Mitch Marner certainly is in that tier. For that sport, Mitch Marner is forever a punchline. But yeah, you got the quintessential hockey things going right now. You got a hot goalie coming in there. It seems as though Fred Anderson's going to be out for Carolina. You cannot throw him out there after that performance and that spark over there. You have the Braden McNabb thing, and Braden McNabb looks like Chris Farley in Dirty Work after his nose got bit off. I don't know if you've seen his nose, but a little Frankenstein.
Saigon War. But by the way, Mike, you say people don't think about Mikal Bridges. You should go outside the garden and see those T-shirts that say "F them picks."
Yeah,
that's a really they chant that all day. F those picks. F those.
I was saying like the basketball world in New York, like Landry Shamet can be mayor.
Shamet, that's a fun.
You say it's Shamet?
Yeah, Chalamet.
Chame.
I can hear the weekend of partying with Charles Barkley on Amin's tongue.
Oh, really?
That's the phrasing, please.
I can hear it. I can hear you are heavy-mouthed. Your words are not coming out crisp. What did you do with Barkley in San Antonio when there is nothing to do in San Antonio?
Irrevocable.
There it is. Yeah, he's struggling. Like it's
I never go to that word.
Yeah,
I don't trust myself. Linoleum is also a tricky one.
Especially on a Monday, you don't go to that word.
Well, not after you've been partying with Charles Barkley for a week, and I'm commenting on your partying, and you can't get the words out because your tongue weighs 400 pounds.
We should come up with a list of words to avoid on a Monday.
Irrevocable wasn't hard. The hard part was saying destruction, which is the second word.
Words are just the problem today for me. And he's not quite slurring, but he's having trouble getting any of the words out without stumbles, speed blocks, and obstacles.
What do you do when you're out with Barkley? Like, do you talk basketball? What do you talk about?
We talk basketball sometimes. A lot of times it's just Charles making fun of people.
Yeah. But how do you contribute to the conversation?
Yeah, like by making jokes and then talking basketball.
Ordering more drinks.
And that too, yeah. We walked into a bar one time. He saw us, and he immediately yells to the bartender, "Get the Schlitz malt liquor ready and the Pabst Blue Ribbon. Here come these guys." Dan?
I want to be a guy who goes into a bar who could just yell across the room to the bartender what I want to drink. I'll never be that guy. That guy seems fun. Just yell things to the bartender, and he comes right over. Instead, I'm the guy who goes to the bar, and I'm sitting there like an asshole waiting like 10 minutes for her to make eye contact, only to ignore me.
Do you do a little lean? Do you have your card in your hand? Or you got the cash in hand? Little lean?
Yeah, of course.
With Barkley, you do the thing where you pull the wallet out like you're gonna pay, but we're letting Barkley pay this, right?
He throws elbows.
Just
if you try to pay around him, he will throw. You almost took my head off, like just. Literally just whoosh, and I had to duck out of the way and say, "What the hell are you doing over there?" I was like, I just wanted to get.
He buys all the drinks. You just said the word asshole, and it reminded me of an unfortunate thing I saw this morning driving in. The Metro Rail has advertising on the side of it, and somebody decided, I don't know who this is a slogan for, but the saying was, access to the whole something, access to the whole something. And then when the doors open and close because of how it's written and where the S's are, it just says asshole when the doors open, like because of whatever their marketing is. A really bad job by whoever it is that decided to put those S's and that hole in the same sentence so that when the doors open, all of a sudden you just have the word asshole on the side of your Metro Rail.
Why won't he just take my drink order? He has to see me, right?
Not the way he would see Barkley. You understand that Barkley walks into a room and he's usually the most famous and important person in there. So in my experience, and I imagine this was Amin's experience over the entirety of the week, whenever Charles walks into a place, it's his party, his tab, and everyone knows he's there. He's been used to it being like that for about 45 years.
He also got really introspective. This was his first NBA Finals, covering the entire Finals. Halftime and postgame and stuff. So him and Ernie Johnson were like uncommonly very moved by this opportunity. And it kind of took me aback. I said, you guys are titans of the industry, but for them, this is a big deal. It's their first finals ever.
ESPN is going through another round of layoffs this summer, and I wanted to ask you guys about the broadcast and how great Mike Breen has been on the broadcast, because I don't know who's going to get laid off. And
not Mike Breen.
Not
really,
Mike
I thought
Breen.
you might.
The reason I'm thinking about it, though, is because his team is Richard Jefferson and Tim Legler. And I really like Tim Legler in almost any form. I catch him anywhere. Richard Jefferson less so, but that broadcast team makes me think, and it's not like we didn't learn this at ESPN, they don't actually know how to put people together in order to make the right combinations. They hit it with Van Gundy and Mark Jackson and Breen, but that's a difficult thing to do, to get the right combinations of three people. But Breen has done an extraordinary job. It is unbelievably rare for somebody to be in the position Breen is, where he's the Knicks announcer and he's not being accused of bias by anybody, and that's always in play whenever a broadcaster's there. Even if the broadcaster's not biased, Joe Buck will tell you he's perpetually being hit with he's biased even though he's not. No one's doing that to Breen.
Well, I think part of it is also, if you listen to Breen do local broadcasts, he doesn't sound like a homer when he's doing the Knicks broadcast. So when he gets to a national level, that's why I think his style is very down the middle and very unbiased as is. So he doesn't get those allegations because he doesn't even get those allegations when he's doing Knick games as a Knick broadcaster.
What you're saying is correct, but that's not how the average sports fan who watches these games thinks. Like, you hear what you want to hear. So it's surprising to me that you still have these casual or regular NBA fans who aren't saying, oh, you see, he wants the Knicks to win. You hear that even though we know it's bullshit.
Well, but the funny thing, Zaz, is I don't know how many people know that he's the Knicks local broadcaster, because he does so many national games for ESPN and ABC. I don't think someone would imagine that someone who's on national TV that much has time to also call local games.
Speaking of broadcasters, I should mention Stacey King, famous Bulls broadcaster, famous Bull, died fairly shockingly at the age of 59 here. And I don't know whether Benetti did this or not on the Peacock NBC broadcast, but he was supposed to. The Bulls had asked, in an homage to what it is Benetti had done for us, for Benetti to, during the Sunday night game, because Benetti used to work with the Bulls, to drop in Stacey King catchphrases into the Peacock and NBC broadcast. I have to check with Benetti to see if he actually went ahead and did that, but he was going to do that. Stacey King, beloved in Chicago, beloved personality as a player, more beloved as a broadcaster. Roy, we have one more Benetti sound. Benetti did one more free catchphrase out of nowhere that we have not played a day later after our charity event for Boog Shambi. Can you play the sound of Jason Benetti sneaking in another Greg Cody catchphrase over the weekend?
Tigers offense has started to cook here in Tampa. They're going to leave going, what, we break a window on the way out of here?
Yeah, Dan, Stacey King was a friend of mine. He was just a wonderful man, a very great positive energy about him. You could hear it in his broadcast, his excitement to call the games. He was awesome. He stayed after games many times to meet and greet Bulls fans, whether at home or on the road, and just chop it up. Him and Adam Amin, one of my favorite local broadcast teams. It's tough. Last week Rick Adelman passed away, and I've got a little speech that I always do whenever we lose someone in basketball. We talk about how basketball is a very young sport, right? It's 80 years old, and the NBA is about 80 years old, and so that means many of the great people who built this game, whether it was coaching, whether it was on the floor, whether it's broadcasting, telling the stories, they're still among us, and so that's cool. But the flip side is we're going to lose a lot of these people over the years, and we're going to see them leave us, basically. And so I was in Denver during the finals, Heat Nuggets, and they gave the Chuck Daly Lifetime Achievement Award to Rick Adelman. I said, okay, let me show up. I'd never worked with Rick Adelman, but we worked against him a lot. And our playbook was a bunch of Rick Adelman Sacramento plays. And when he walked in, I started crying because he looked so old, and I said, wait a second, when did that happen? Not old like gray hair or old wrinkles, old like, oh, he's kind of almost frail, a frail old man. And it sucks to see all of this happen, but it hits doubly hard when it's someone like Stacey, who's not an old man. Stacy's, in his 50s or
Not
something
just
like that.
not an old man, but also an electrical current is a vibrant personality.
Yes.
Like this man had an outsized sort of cartoonish love of life that you could hear in the broadcast and basically any time he was interviewed. And, obviously he's very close to my age. And so whenever it is that something like that happens, it punches you in the face, and doubly so when it's a vibrant, energetic personality. I've always thought of Rick Adelman as not quite that. Right? Rick Adelman, in some form, has been an old man almost the entire time I knew him. Even when he was a rookie coach, he felt like he was a bit of an old man. Stacey King, I think of as a young man.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to get that news yesterday, I was doing radio, and then it was like literally 5 minutes after we got radio, I got that news, and it hit me hard. It hit me hard several times yesterday, where I just think about every time I'm at a Bulls game. He'd always be there and to chop it up with me and talk and stuff, and I'm not going to get to do that with my friend anymore.
Let's lighten it up a little bit by getting back to my beloved Knicks,
Dan,
the epicenter of the sports world.
No, all right. Time out. Yeah. Time out. Good call. It's been a lot. All right. Just breathe easy. All right. We'll get back to the Knicks. Plenty of time. Let's give the audience some variety. Let's speak to the people, the large swath of our audience that probably hates the New York Knicks and everything that's going on here. All right?
By
Just a little
doing
pause.
what? By talking about what?
Wrestling.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
What about the people who hate wrestling?
Well, then I think they're going to like these videos too.
You hate wrestling. Get a life.
Yeah.
Come on.
I know, it's incredible theater. But
theater?
Theater. That's what happened in La Noche de los Grandes. Let's talk about Stone Cold Steve Austin, one of the all-time goats. Now, we like his reaction videos. He's got one of those incredible, recognizable voices. Dan, would you like to see a video of Stone Cold Steve Austin trying to wrangle his cat Poncho on his ranch?
Of course.
You've come to the Broke Skull Ranch. It's bedtime out here. Rounding up the cats. There he is. Ponche, come here, Ponche. Ponche, bedtime. Come here, buddy. Ponche. Come here, Poncho.
That's not how.
Poncho. Ponche. Poncho.
That's not how cat works. That's a real fundamental misunderstanding of cat.
You had to get in on the MFer right there with your cat expertise. Cat guy, big cat guy. One more time for Stone Cold Steve Austin trying to wrangle the cat.
Poncho!
For the audio audience, that is a cat that was sitting staring at him from a distance, and when he shouts Poncho, it's because the cat is just leaving.
You little mother.
I could watch that man do anything. Stone Cold Steve Austin is just one of those guys. I want him in just mundane, run-of-the-mill situations, and I find it deeply entertaining. And that's not really wrestling, right? That's just a guy.
Poncho!
No, that's wrestling.
All right, well, let me show you wrestling. Dan, do you know what happens after you get attacked in the ring by a foreign object? You get pretty mad. And then you go to the backstage and you talk about it. I want to tell you about Juice Robinson from All Elite Wrestling. Dan, he got attacked by Fit Finley's son with a shillelagh.
You know about that shillelagh?
The former president of the University of Miami, Donna Shillelagh? I don't know what a shillelagh is. I legitimately don't know what
Most people
that is.
don't. And because of wrestling, I have discovered that a shillelagh is like a wooden club with a rounded edge.
It's a big Irish weapon.
Yeah, like an Irish guy uses it in a fight.
Yeah, well, Juice Robinson was really upset about this shillelagh being used, and he decided to vow vengeance upon his assailant in a very detailed way.
David Finley, I swear, if you ever come after me again with your daddy's little wooden sex toy, I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna whittle it down so thin that it's gonna fit right up your urethra. That's right, then I'm gonna take Clark's Strike Anywhere match and I'm gonna light the tip and watch it burn all the way up your urinary tract. So that way, every time you take a piss from here on out, it's gonna feel like you got herpetogonosyphilitis. And guess what, you son of a bitch? There's no cure to herpetogonosyphilitis.
That is funny for a number of reasons, but for the audio audience, his face keeps getting closer to the camera until you see only his left eye.
I really enjoy any speech like that includes, that's right, to confirm what he just said, and guess what?
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Do you know what a shillelagh is? Because before you just showed it to me and before you just told me, I had no earthly understanding of what a shillelagh is. I did not know it was a weapon. Zaz, was this an area of expertise for you? Did you know what a shillelagh was?
Dan, I watch wrestling. I know what a shillelagh is.
Okay, but a shillelagh is not a common wrestling tool, is it?
For an Irish fighter, you ever heard of Sheamus?
I have. I thought when first time I saw Sheamus, I was like, that guy has to be one of the guys who loses all the time. But I was told, nope, he is not. He is a muscular, redheaded guy who is the king of the gingers. I did not know that. I thought just based on the looks of him that he had to be somebody who was losing all the time.
That checks.
Yeah, I can say with confidence I've never heard a backstage promo quite like that.
Oh.
There was a Marvel character named Black Tom Cassidy, and he had a shillelagh. I remember this. He was
Thank
Irish.
you. Thank you.
I like the Donna Shillelagh joke.
It was a solid joke. Let's play the promo one more time because there's so many details in there that I would just like to catch on, because he talks about David Finlay and his tag team partner Clark. So he threatens both of the assailants here.
David Finlay, I swear, if you ever come after me again with your daddy's little wooden sex toy, I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna whittle it down so thin that it's gonna fit right up your urethra. That's right, then I'm gonna take Clark's Strike Anywhere match and I'm gonna light the tip and watch it burn all the way up your urinary tract. So that way, every time you take a piss from here on out, it's gonna feel like you got herpetogonosyphilitis. And guess what, you son of a bitch? There's no cure to herpetogonosyphilitis.
I will tell the audio audience again, when the promo begins, you can see the entirety of his face. By the end of it, you can only see his left eye, and he does the Holy Trinity, a real trifecta of using the phrases whittle it down, urethra, and urinary tract, before he even gets to herpetogonosyphilitis.
Herpetogonosyphilitis? How do you spell that?
Whatever that is. I don't even know what that is, but there's no cure, just so that you know. Be clear on that.
We all learned that together.
There is no cure for that.
He actually called it a urinary tract, like as if you run on it. A urinary tract.
You son of a bitch.
They are presently searching in the back room for the Stone Cold Steve Austin getting into a cold tub, which I believe is our most legendary Stone Cold Steve Austin sound. We don't have anything better than that in the Stone Cold Steve Austin files. So whenever it is you guys find it, just interrupt whatever I'm saying, even if we're talking about Stacey King or Rick Adelman or something that's somber, just interrupt whenever it is that you guys find it and simply play the Stone Cold Steve Austin getting into a cold tub so that we can enjoy that together again. I want to get to something from baseball. There were a couple of things from baseball I wanted to talk about. First of all, the Marlins took 2 out of 3 from my beloved Rays, and in one of them, you had the dramatics at the end of the game where you have Tyler Zuber trying to get his first save for the Marlins, and he's got to do it by going through Junior Caminero with the bases loaded, up 1 run, and a 3-2 count, okay? So you have a situation where you're facing one of the best hitters in baseball, maybe the best bat speed anywhere in baseball, and he knows you have to throw a strike, and he struck him out. But one of the things that happened during the at-bat that I'm never going to get used to and bothers me, the announcers say when Junior Caminero could have challenged a pitch and turned.
God damn. Mother. Oh. 15 seconds. Whew. What's this anti-inflammatory? It's supposed to get you endorphins going or some shit. Oh, I am freezing my ass off. I don't do real well with the cold weather, and this is my first cold plunge, and for them people that go out there and do them polarized plunge things, it's crazy. Starting to get a little numb to it. I'm going to make 3 minutes, but it's a cold son of a bitch.
Everyone says that I talk to who does cold tubs say that it is life-changing in terms of how it helps your health to start a day that way by just making all of the blood cells rush to the places that need it in your body because it thinks it's freezing.
Talking to Tony a lot?
Herphagonocephalitis.
Caminero, as I was saying, it's 3-2 count, and the bases are loaded, and the Rays are down by a run. And the announcer says, after Caminero would have challenged a ball that was called a strike that would have put the count even more in his favor, the announcer said something, and I want to get your thoughts on this because I still think this is going to make an appearance during the NBA Finals, and I think it's going to be a talking point as it was a little bit during during the OKC San Antonio series. The idea that in basketball you can use your challenges correctly to correct a couple of times what the refs have gotten wrong to keep Victor Wembanyama out of foul trouble and not have any challenges left for the end of the game. The announcer said during the Caminero at bat, that's what you get for using your challenges too early. And I just hate that. I hate the fact that the umpire and the whole game can be swung on the fact that we're still not getting either the technology or the system right, and you have to, use your challenges correctly, or you lose your challenges because otherwise people would be doing 70 challenges in a game.
Yeah, baseball and basketball are different in that respect. Like, I agree with that in basketball, where there's really nothing, unless a guy's about to get in serious foul trouble, you should not be using your challenges in the first half of a game. But in baseball, the thing that happens in the first, second, third, fourth inning can totally win you the game. You have to use challenges early if the situation calls for it. And yeah, it sucks if then you can't use them again later.
When Amin knocks down, Mike, your idea of putting Wembanyama on Brunson more, I didn't think that fatigue, although fatigue would also be one of the factors, would be what I would be worried about. I'd be worried about foul trouble for Wembanyama. Just a couple, even though he's got a foot on him, the quickness and the way that Brunson can use his body to get fouls, that's what I would worry about. I don't want, if I am the Spurs, any circumstance where Wembanyama is in foul trouble. You haven't seen much of that during the playoffs.
I haven't seen Brunson trying to get his body into Wembanyama either. He tends to keep his distance, and that's another way to stay out of foul trouble, is because he can literally be 5 feet away and still get a hand in his face.
Well, what do you think? What do you think there? When I immediately think foul trouble, do you think that's not a concern at all? Who are the players? Karl Anthony Towns, if you have him being
I'd be more worried about Cat getting Wemby in foul trouble than Brunson. And I know it seems counterintuitive to have the quick guy on the guy that is fatigued, but Wemby is showing us he's fatigued quite literally from the jump. I think this is an accumulation of the entire season. This isn't something that New York is doing. He was very clearly fatigued against OKC too. So if we're just going to have a diminished, fatigued Wemby, I think matchup-wise, I like what I saw there. And I know Brunson's certainly capable of inefficient performances, but that is a very difficult matchup for Jalen Brunson. Wemby can make up a lot of ground, not even moving.
I heard somebody talking, and I cannot remember who it was, because they are now having to reconfigure some conversations to put Brunson at the top of the sport on best player in the league, because when you win, that's what happens for you. You start getting some credit for things like he's the best fourth quarter player in the league, and that matters. But I can't remember who was talking about it, but one of the reasons that they were not putting Brunson in an all-elite class for his size, given that size never advances this far as the best player in the postseason, they were deducting points because they said Brunson's not that quick. We're grading on a curve, obviously. He is quick, but for people his size, he does have a bit of Paul Pierce type of game where you're like, I don't totally understand how he's able to do that in that dump truck body, because he's not actually, when I look at Castle and Harper, I'm seeing youth and speed and quickness. When I look at Maxey, I see certain quickness. That's not what I see on Brunson.
Yeah, this is a body control guy. It's a footwork guy.
He has incredible footwork.
Yeah, like he'll create spacing, but it's not necessarily with speed, which is why I'd like to see more of Wemby on Brunson, just because the other matchups are just killing San Antonio, and this one seems to be the one that gets the most results. We saw it in crunch time, right, where Brunson thrives. We saw Wemby, tired as all hell, affect the shot, gather the rebound, and then he made an all-time gaff.
I think part of the defense that they did in Game 2 that they did a much better job of is they pressured Brunson full court. They picked him up full court, and then they did a lot of half-court traps. As soon as he crosses the timeline, they're trapping him right there. I think that wears Brunson out a lot. It expends a lot of energy, and they managed to turn it over. The Knicks don't have really a lot of ball handling guards outside of Brunson and maybe Alvarado. The other guys, McBride and Hart and Bridges, they're just not that good at playing against pressure, particularly against defenses like those Spurs guards. But once they get into the half court, Mike, yeah, I think basically they want Wemby to be playing out in space. If you're the Knicks, you want to draw him out. And that's the other part of it. Brunson would have to draw him out. And if he's out there, that means the offensive rebounding opportunities are there, and that means the cutting is also there as well. And so those are the reasons beyond fatigue why I don't think I would want Wemby full-time or even most of the game guarding Brunson.
The other baseball story that I wanted to get to, Zaz, the outfield behavior of fans. I saw a game last week. Jazz Chisholm hit a 409-foot home run, and somebody caught it. It was smoked, obviously. Somebody caught it in the stands with their bare hand. Would you even go for that? Would you would? So if you were in right field and somebody was hitting a 409-foot screamer your way, you would try to catch that with your bare hand?
I would try to get with two hands. I wouldn't try just the one hand, because with two hands you kind of try and cup it almost, so it doesn't hurt as much. I'd try.
So we had something happen in the stands this weekend, because I would not try to catch that. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Would you try and catch a 409-foot line drive with your bare hand in right field? Yes or no? But, Chris, I don't know. You're somebody who I pretty consistently accuse of questionable parenting. And this feels like a situation that you would put your daughter in because you wanted that souvenir. And I think it's extraordinarily bad parenting judgment. But let's play the video and set up the video for people, Chris. Tell them what it is that they're about to see.
It's a still shot here. It's at a Reds game. There's a home run ball that's kind of caught at the like behind the wall, but basically it's reachable. So a dad here, you can see him taking his what looks like 11-year-old son, 10-year-old son, and hanging him upside down, dangling him down the wall to try to grab this ball. And as you can see here, there's a security guard that is not like this. The security guard like, hey, get your son up there. And I would do this with my daughter. I'm assuming this is not from the upper deck. If this becomes an upper deck home run, this is a different ball game.
But is that netting? Is there netting there, or is that clean? Is that just something that you're going to drop your son on your head if you don't have a good enough grip on his ankle?
Just don't drop him.
I think if you drop him here, he falls about 10 feet to the warning track.
All right, just don't drop him.
To me, this is just safe. This is just a play on for me. Barely good enough here. If this is a little higher up, your kid's a little bit more at risk. What, Roy? He's 10. That kid, what, he's going to sprain his wrist? Worst case scenario if he falls from there?
He can fall on his head.
Yeah, but he'd break the fall with his hands.
How do you think that goes down? Like, does the father just grab the kid and goes, all right, here's what's happening. And then he just, he starts dangling him? Is there a pep talk beforehand that if a ball comes near here, this is what we're going to do?
Like at the start of the game, you say to him, hey, if a ball goes right there,
that's what I'm asking.
This is our game plan.
Okay.
You got to pre-plan
Jeremy, can you look up for me whether the story I'm about to tell is true? Because I don't know if it's mythologizing. I know Vanilla Ice has denied it. But when I see that, when I see a video or a picture of somebody being held from a high place by their ankles, I think of Death Row Records. I think of Suge Knight. I think of Suge Knight getting Vanilla Ice to sign something he wanted him to sign by having a person dangle Vanilla Ice from a balcony by his ankles. I don't know what's true there. I mean, you've heard this story.
Yes, I have. Absolutely.
That is bad business, but it's also effective business.
Good business.
No,
he signed the paper.
It's criminal business, but it is effective business. I wouldn't say it's
He didn't drop
ethical
him.
business. He did well, but the threat was implied.
No, there's no criminality.
Did he get the name on the dotted line?
He did, yes.
All right, good business.
Okay, but there are certain moralities that usually come with doing good business that you guys are neglecting there.
Vanilla Ice says on his own YouTube page that while there was an intense shakedown, he was never physically dangled over the balcony. Also, going back to the Caminero strikeout, it was actually the Cedric Mullins strikeout the next night where he struck out looking in a 10-pitch at-bat. I've been searching since you mentioned that Caminero pitch because it was an 0-2 count with Tyler Zuber, and I was like, I feel like a crazy person.
Gonna revisit this mother.
Thanks for clearing that up. It just didn't sit right.
Yeah,
with
I know.
me.
I know you were looking for it.
Yeah, but the reason why people believe that story is because in the behind the music, Vanilla Ice was the one that started this whole thing.
When you say shakedown, rarely do you get a visual image that's literally a shakedown, quite like this one, where he was being shaken and the threat was implied that he would be going down.
That's a 20 CB thing, right? When they turn you upside down, the bully, so you can get all the money, all the change out of your pockets. Hey, give me your milk money, kid.
I mean, have you looked up or found in any way why it is that you keep saying it's not his first, it's their first rodeo, it's the Spurs' first rodeo? Why is the rodeo such an amazing thing? Is it because a human being is just on a bull, or is there other stuff happening that makes the rodeo an awe-inspiring discovery?
I have to imagine that of all the sporting events that you would do for the first time, the one that might blow your mind a little bit is riding a bull as it's bucking, and you're like, what the hell is going on here? So, yeah, it's your first rodeo. Like, I don't know, they got the cow out or something?
Okay, so the first rodeo analogy, though, is for the person riding the bull. It's not for attending as a spectator the rodeo, because that's how I've always taken it. I've never assumed that a person doing their first rodeo is sitting on the bull for the first time. I thought they were just getting cotton candy at concessions, and there were others riding around
You
on
had
a
a
bull.
guy with popcorn, like, oh, wow, this is pretty fun. My first rodeo. Whoa.
I was told that Chris Cody was shamed by the internet for the way that he eats popcorn, now that you mention popcorn. What happened here, Chris? I'm not familiar with how you eat popcorn. Do you eat popcorn the wrong way?
Well, I just combined a couple treats here, a couple movie theater treats. I went to the movie with my family over the weekend, saw the new Nate Bargatze movie. Don't waste your time. But
is that how you pronounce his last name?
No,
Bargatze.
Bargatze.
Okay. Well, yeah, no, it's just there were some funny moments, but you know,
What movie is this?
it's called The Breadwinner. It's like a family movie. It's it's not great. Anyway, so I'm at the movie theater.
White guys?
I love these movie theaters with the little tables. Oh yeah. Oh, the little recliner seat, the table. So what I did, I got some nachos, as one does. And they have Dorito nachos at my movie theater.
Oh, no.
That's-
Movie theater nachos are terrible.
Well, these are Doritos with just a side of cheese sauce. So what I
Aren't
decided,
Dorito nachos just Doritos?
what I decided to do was, you take a nacho, you dip it, you take a Dorito, you dip it in the cheese, and then you go and you dip it into your popcorn.
Oh, no.
And you notice here, no mess is created because every piece of popcorn that gets touched by the cheese lifts with the popcorn. So it was just a delightful treat. A little salty, a little savory, just delightful. And the internet did not like it. They were shaming me.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Aren't Dorito nachos just Doritos? And also put on the poll, are movie theater nachos always the worst?
The irrevocable,
The Love Doctor is here. He is ready. He is in his office right now. Dr. Greg Cody getting everybody ready for Mother's Day this weekend. And we have questions. The Love Doctor is going to have the answers. Who's up first?
I know a lot of people are going to come to you and they're going to want to know, how do you keep it interesting? Me, I'm not interested in interesting. So how do you keep it predictable? How do you keep it ho-hum? How do you just let it just be?
Was that Jason Tatum asking that question?
Young lady, you are my kind of gal. That's my lane. That's my lane of romance. I invented predictable. Nobody has perfected the art of dull routine like yours truly. As a matter of fact, little inside information here, my wife and I schedule our naughty time months in advance, like doctor's appointments. Quite often, she'll have to cancel because she said something came up. Unfortunately, sometimes I'll have to cancel because something didn't come up. That kind of thing.
It's a good look for us.
Do we have another question for the Love Doctor here after such great advice?
With Chris listening.
Oh, we're doing it, baby.
What are you guys doing, man?
Oh, you want question number 2?
Yeah, let's go question number 2.
Oh, yeah, Greg. Hey, man, I need your help, man. So I'm out of town for Mother's Day, trying to figure out what can I get my girl for Mother's Day in another city.
Oh, wow. Buddy, I'm worried about this. Not one, but 2 of the Love Doctor's marriages began rending like cheap fabric when Greg was either out of town at a sporting event or away at a doctoral conference, and the exes were doing the clandestine bumpy bump behind my back. Jack, I suggest you get your girl, which you'd never expect, a private eye to keep an eye on her randy ass.
You know about that randy ass, Nick?
I don't like this at all.
Thank you, Love Doctor. Don't go anywhere. We may go back to you. Appreciate you.
I don't like this at all.
Somehow the least embarrassing Cody on today's show.
Wait till Nick finds out that Chris, with Greg sitting nearby, admitted about a half an hour ago that when he's having a hard time becoming aroused, he thinks of his wife's twin sister to get in the mood.
It was a shocking revelation.
That's what happened, Nick.
Shocking.
That happened.
Yeah, he did.
No, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did. He did.
It was shocking.
Unnecessary, also.
I don't like. This isn't. Again, I might need a mean here. This isn't kayfabe. Kayfabe?
Kayfabe.
Which is it? I don't know.
Kayfabe,
Thank
wrestling
you.
nerd here at your service.
This isn't.
Zaz could have
Thanks,
helped
Mike Ryan. This isn't kayfabe. I don't like this at all. And I would appreciate if you guys turned the music off. This is not great.
So the Steelers.
Are you ready to do your catchphrases? I heard there's some
Dan.
controversy around the. It's the Greg Cody Show featuring Greg Cody. He is counting down his top 50 catchphrases of all time. It has been a successful months-long joke. What is the controversy surrounding your catchphrase list? What is the issue?
It's big. The controversy is that based on quality demand, the catchphrase countdown has suddenly increased from a top 50 to a top 60.
What?
That's
What?
right. And it's controversial.
Of course it is. You told us it was a top 50, and we told you. We told you it was. We told you it was something you were making up as you went along, and that you weren't going to get the numbers right. And now you just changed it.
He botched it to such a degree that there are so many good ones left that we're just pushing all
I
the
knew
current
that was
ones
going to
back.
happen, though. That's exactly
That's
what
what
we
we're saying.
Your brain beating me.
How did this happen? What was the ruling? What did the committee get together and decide? How did it happen that it got expanded? Now, no one's going to complain about this because more catchphrases is great, but we told you this was going to happen, and we told you this was a sloppy list by you.
The others, they all learn from me.
Yeah, right.
No, I looked at all the catchphrases remaining, and there was only 14 left, but there were like 20-something good ones. So I'm like,
thank you.
Let's go.
So wait a minute. So how did you do it though? Are there now is there now a new list 50 to 60 or
No,
what are you doing?
everything that's been said is just like what was 50 is now 60.
Yes.
There were
Wow.
14 left, and now there's 24
So we're
left.
not in the top 20
No,
anymore?
now we're at 23
we were
and
in the top
24.
20 of the countdown, and now we're at 24?
I'm telling you, they're bangers, though. There are just bangers
There
left.
is nobody that's actually upset about this development. Come on.
You've got to honor the list, though.
I'm telling you, I got a peek. I don't know the exact order, but I got a peek of what the top 10 looks like, and it is just banger after banger.
Yeah, Yeti hated it. He's against it.
Yeti thinks that we should just make him live with the world he gave
You
us.
should.
Like
I mean,
there's-
I asked you several times throughout this whole process. Have you thought this out? Have you planned out the list? You know that there are 50. You kept assuring me that you have it all under control.
Driver comfort is paramount.
He ain't wrong. You know, part of the beauty of me is a bit of serendipity, a bit of
You're the kind of guy.
unpredictability. And so the same is true with this list. Okay, whenever you do a countdown, Zaz, bank this information for your future. Whenever you do any sort of a countdown, controversy is good. You want somebody to say, that sucks, that should be lower, or that's, wow, I can't believe that's not higher.
So wait, so what used to be 50 is now 60.
Yes.
So we've gotten fraudulent rankings up to now. All the numerical rankings we've gotten up to now are all wrong.
He can give you the updated, like number 60, he can give you the update of whatever.
I know,
it is.
but every previous incarnation of this that we have given
That's
the
right.
American public and internationally has been wrong.
I would say adjusted more than wrong.
Adjusted.
Maybe to Greg's credit, too, I've never heard of a top 60.
Thank you.
Well, how do we know it's not going to end up being 62 because he's going to think it's too I just saw all over the televisions they were talking about the idea of Jaylen Brown and Milwaukee, Jaylen Brown and the Celtics trading for Giannis, but Windhorse has said on Get Up, quote, the team to watch here is Miami. Miami would say we got Tyler Hero, who's a young player and been an all-star. We got draft picks, including the 13th pick in this draft. And Giannis, I think, wants to be in Miami. There's more check marks on Miami. I'm not sure Boston is ready to trade Jaylen Brown. And he also says of the Celtics this weekend, I have not heard that Boston is on Giannis's list. I have not heard that Giannis is prepared to sign the extension with Boston. Just because I haven't heard it doesn't mean it's not true. But until those two things are true, I don't think it's really something that's in the world of reality. We will get back to that in a second. But Mike Schur and Joe Posnanski have written a great book, and they're going to be joining us here momentarily. Joe Posnanski, one of the world's best sports writers, a New York Times bestselling author of 9 books, co-host of the podcast, and also Mike Schur is here with him. So Posnanski, thank you for joining us. I appreciate the time. I appreciate that you continue to carry around Mike Schur and lift him to levels that he couldn't get to by himself. Why did you guys decide to write this book? It's called Big Fan, Two Friends, 82,490 Miles, and the Wild, Wonderful Sports We Love. I feel like Mike Schur doesn't have time to be doing this nonsense. So what happened? How did this come together, Joe? What was the idea for it, and how did it happen?
Well, honestly, it is completely Mike's idea. Which is weird because he doesn't have time to do this, and it's a complete waste of his time. But he's better telling how it happened. But he got a video from a friend of his from the World Darts Championship that he found himself entirely just blown away by this ridiculous, wonderful event that they've got in London. And he found himself watching the fans, and these fans are dressed up like minions and bananas and Harry Potter characters, and they're pouring beer on each other just every time somebody makes another throw, and it was just such a weird thing. And yet Mike's sort of like takeaway from it was, I think these people are just like us. I think we're exactly like that when we watch our games. We're the same people, and he said we should travel around the world and go to events and write about the fans, write about what it means to be a fan, and it was. I was like, yeah, that's a great idea, and we did it, and we traveled 82,490 miles chasing fandom.
Meadowlark Media did a 3-part documentary for the BBC on darts because that whole scene is just sheer lunacy. Sure, how many places did you end up where you thought that you found things even more colorful or stranger than what it is you were experiencing around darts?
Well, first of all, hi, Dan. How are you?
I'm mad at you. Like, you know what's happened here. You've gone from being on our show to going on Pablo Torre's show because it's a trendier show.
It's run by the same people. It's all them in the Meadowlark family. Why are you complaining about this?
You have stopped coming on our show to go on that show. Which part of that are you not understanding?
You're right. You know what? Fair. I'm very sorry. I will come on your show anytime you want me to come on your show. But can we just lower the hostility a little bit? I feel like I woke up early, as I always do, to come on your show and see my old friend Dan. And what do I get? Like, I'm being grilled. It's like you're grilling me. This isn't a friendly interview so far. You're being very hostile.
He's also been on the pitch clock multiple times, Dan.
That's the segregated. That's the segregated part of the show. That is not a part of the show. That's a part of the show that's adjacent to the show. That's sort of part of the show that I've not been on.
You've never been on the pitch clock?
Never invited either.
Well, that is just a blatant lie. What's this guy doing? Knicks fan over here. Ridiculous.
I have never been invited to be on Pitch Clock.
We blocked his number.
I would turn down all of the invitations, but I've never been invited.
There you go.
Open invite for this week, Dan. You want to join?
What other strange things did you find, Sure? What other unusual places did you find that are stranger than the darts community?
Stranger than the darts community, I don't know. That was pretty strange in a wonderful way. Joe went to the Indigenous Stickball Championships in Mississippi, which is how native tribes have solved disputes for an extremely long time. It's sort of like a proto-lacrosse / field hockey / just people beating each other up kind of a competition. We went to Fairbanks, Alaska, because there is every year on the summer solstice, the sun never fully goes down, and they play a semi-pro baseball game there at midnight with no lights. And we were like, let's see what that's about. That was the mission of the book. The events were weird, some of them, and odd, but the point was more about the fans. We wanted to go to places that drew like rabid, intense fans, and to write about and experience what it was like to be them at those events. So it wasn't like we didn't make our choices based on what's the farthest place we can travel or what's the weirdest thing we've heard of, because we got a lot of suggestions from people, go to the wife carrying championships in Kazakhstan or whatever. But we decided that we were going to choose the events based on the fervor of the fans. And it was a good call, because everywhere we went, we found the same kind of intensity.
But, Joe, there's some bullshit in here. I mean, 8 hours in a Buffalo Wild Wings watching football, that shouldn't be a chapter in the book. That's you guys just wanting to expense wings, right?
What's the hostilities back now?
That was a question for Joe.
That was a hostile question.
But it was a question for Joe. It was a hostile question for Joe, not for you.
Yeah, it was more specifically hostile to me. Yeah, listen, Mike's a vegetarian, so we didn't even eat any wings while we were there. That was one of the. Well, I mean, that really is what this book was. I mean, because like our initial idea was we had all of these different weird places to go, and we were going to travel all around the world. We were going to go to New Zealand for rugby. We were going to go to Japan for sumo. We were going to India for cricket. We were going to do all these sorts of things. And then it sort of started to morph into this idea, what it really is about fandom. It really is about what it means to be a fan. And we were like, well, we've got to do something on the NFL. And we had this idea that we were going to go to a bar, and then we had this other idea. And then on the way to the bar, we kind of decided, like, where do people watch football? They go to the Buffalo Wild Wings. So we went to the Buffalo Wild Wings that was closest to us, which was, Mike, what would you say, like 0.8 miles closer than another Buffalo Wild Wings?
Yeah, we put Buffalo Wild Wings into the GPS, and like 7, we were in Dallas, and like 7 of them came up. And it was like, well, there's one 1 mile away and one 1.3 miles away. So we'll go to the one that's 1 mile away.
At the risk of making this yet more hostile, you say it's a book for the fans, and yet you're sitting here writing about the Hollywood Star of Fame unveiling for Mike Shore. Like, what is that?
Yeah, Mike really, 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 really didn't want that. That was entirely me insisting that I go and do that. Mike was. I cannot begin to describe how hostile he was when I said that I was going to come and write about my friend getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. But I kind of thought it was important because I don't think that we can ignore that television has fans too, and a lot of those people really love Mike, and we wanted to write about what the other side of this thing is, from fandom, and this was Mike in the middle of what I think is the most embarrassing day of his entire life, where he just had a whole bunch of people praising him and talking about how great he is. And of course I had to be there for that, because that was just, he was utterly humiliated as all of these incredible people talked about how great he is.
Mike, was there a place along the journey where you were like, what the hell are we doing here? More than all the others? What are we doing?
I mean, we did go to Miami. Just gonna say it.
To find sports fans?
To go to Unrivaled. And it was very fun. Although there's a footnote in the book about the Miami airport. And at some point, maybe offline, I'd like to have a conversation with you folks about the Miami airport.
I mean, it's terrible. It's a third world airport. It doesn't.
What are we doing?
I don't know what we're doing.
What's happening?
What's happening?
I've never been to a third world country.
we had to return a rental car, and it was like we were inside an MC Escher painting for like 35 minutes and couldn't get ourselves out.
Oh, wait a minute, though. You're not allowed to do rental car flex when LA's your airport and the rental cars are 20 minutes from the airport.
I'm not saying it's better out here. I'm saying that it's weirder. It's weird in a different way in Miami than I was used to. It was like we were being experimented on by scientists. That's how it felt. To see if we could like the rats were in the maze, and it was can you find the Hertz cheese at the end of it? What was the question? I forget now because of the hostility.
You just wanted to make a Miami joke. It's not because of the hostility. It's because of your self-involvement. You wanted to make a Miami joke, and you didn't even remember the question.
I think you answered it.
You were so armed with your joke that you wanted to just insult Miami.
What you said was there a place we went that was what?
Weirder. What the hell are we doing here? How did we get here? Why are we here?
Oh God, Mike was at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and Mike Ryan is in the book as one of my Sherpas because we had a challenge in the book where I made Joe do something he didn't want to do, and Joe made me do something I didn't want to do. And the thing that I had to do was go to WrestleMania in Las Vegas, and I needed help, and so I called upon the expertise of Mike Ryan Ruiz, who like came and sat with me in the sports book of a hotel as I asked him like the most basic questions about wrestling because I know nothing about wrestling. And at one point I was like, okay, so tonight John Cena is trying to become the heavyweight champion. And he was like, that's correct. And I was like, has he ever been the heavyweight champion before? And Mike was like, he has been the heavyweight champion 16 times. He was so patient. He was very, very patient with me. Mike, thank you for your patience. And he very calmly walked me through a bunch of dumb questions. And then at the end, he gave me incredible advice, which was I was like, what do I need to know about the storylines? What am I walking into here? And he said, you don't need to know anything, just enjoy it. And it ended up being like my approach to the whole event was like, okay, I'm just going to enjoy this. And lo and behold, I actually kind of really did. I really enjoyed it. And I was very grateful for your help, Mike.
Joe, what was the thing you had to do that you didn't want to do?
Yeah, Mike sent me to a pickleball tournament. I hate pickleball a lot, like really a lot. And I don't hate many things, but I truly hate pickleball. I hate the sound. I hate the game. I hate pickleball. And so Mike thought it would be very fun to send me to not only watch a pickleball tournament, professional pickleball tournament, but also play in it because they've got like a pro-am section of the pickleball tournament. So I went to Kansas City to play and watch a pickleball tournament and truly loathed it as I thought I would, although sort of the whole point of this thing was to kind of find the humanity in these things that we didn't know anything about. And I ended up finding this incredible story and it ended up being very, very sweet. And I did find myself really understanding and appreciating what it is that people love about that sport, but it's not for me.
I don't like the idea that both of you guys went to something you hated and you actually learned something. I wanted you guys to be tortured and be like, oh, it's so dumb. What was the dumbest part of the experience for both of you guys?
Dumbest? I mean, honestly, it sounds Pollyanna-ish. I don't think any of it was dumb. I mean, Joe still hates pickleball, if that matters to you. Also, hi, Amin. Don't get a hi from you either. It's been a long time. How you been?
What's with all the hostility?
He's a Pulitzer winner since you last saw him.
That's right.
I know. A lot's happened. I haven't seen you guys in a long time, and there's no pleasantries. We've completely dispensed with the pleasantries.
Hey, anyway, Mike, how are you? Are you planning a sequel to the book? And if so, can I take you to Talladega?
Well, okay. That was on the list of things that Joe was going to make me do that I hated. Was actually the first one was motorbike racing, right?
Motorbike racing was the original. Yeah.
Because anything that's that loud and violent and aggressive is something that I don't have any affinity for. So
that's me. You just described me: loud, violent, and aggressive.
That's why I haven't been on the show in a while. But I think that is actually my nightmare. WrestleMania was I could imagine that being fun before it happened, and then I did actually have fun. Talladega or a NASCAR race or even an F1 race, it's very difficult for me to imagine how I would enjoy that at all or see the positive side of that. So yes, if we do a second book, Mike, this is my personal guarantee. You can take me to Talladega.
That's great.
There we go.
I got a camper. You can stay with me. College Mike.
God, here it comes.
Eagle Eye, Nicoletti, 10-Day Tony, and the Watermelon Man.
They're the co-authors of Big Fan, Two Friends, 82,490 Miles, and the Wild, Wonderful Sports We Love. Before we let you go, Mike, any thoughts on the NBA Finals?
I have one very big thought, which is for the first time, I'm 50 years old, and for the first time in my life, I'm kind of rooting for a sports team from New York. I can't believe it. I cannot believe we've gotten here. I don't know how it happened. I try so hard to hate the Knicks, and I can't hate them. And it's very disturbing. Like, I don't like this feeling at all of rooting for New York. I mean, I love Wemby, and if the Spurs won, I'd be very happy. But really what this is about for me personally is trying to summon the rage and anger and disdain that I always have ready to go for all New York sports teams, and I can't do it, and it's really screwing me up.
Here's a way you can hate them. Jim Dolan invited Donald Trump to the game.
That's good. That's good. He helped me out. He helped me out there for sure. I mean, Dolan, easy to hate. Don't like the fact that he's getting any benefit from this at all. But the team, the players, the coach, Mike Brown, my beloved Sacramento Kings, is like a side story here, and I'm happy for him. I kind of like Brunson. I'm happy for the Cat resurgence. Like, I'm kind of happy for all of them, and I don't like it. It's not a good feeling.
Mike, was losing in the first round and blowing a 3-1 series lead your favorite season, just like Jaylen Brown?
That's hostile.
Hi, Zaslow. We've never actually met before, but it's nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you.
How you doing? I'm a big
good.
fan.
I'm a fan of you.
What was the question again? Sorry.
Was this your favorite Celtics season, just like it was Jaylen Brown blowing a 3-1 lead?
It was. I'm going to answer this question as if you meant it sincerely and not as a troll. It was actually one of my favorite Celtics regular seasons. Yes, I can honestly say that. And I went into the playoffs thinking, like, this is all gravy. I don't care what happens now. They're not winning the title, so I'll just watch this unfold however it unfolds. The pain I felt was minimal. And then I pretty effortlessly switched over to just being an NBA fan. So take that. Also, good luck with Giannis. I sincerely hope he comes to the Heat. 6 years and 4 attempts to get him too late.
Do you want Giannis? Would you want Boston to be interested in Giannis or no?
I personally do not know. I think the aging curve and injury curve of a player of his profile does not suggest that he is going to be worth not only the assets you give up for him, but also the extension that you have to sign him to. And I would prefer that the Celtics roll with the guys they got.
Yeah, I'll take him.
Do you guys want him?
Yes.
Do you guys want him?
Yes, I'll take Giannis. Yep. Top 5 player when he's healthy. Yeah,
We
I'll
missed
take
the
that
playoffs
guy.
this year. I'll
Yep.
take him.
Yeah. Well, you guys don't have anything, so
Relax.
when you don't have anything, getting something sounds like a good idea.
You're gonna make me hostile.
The name of the book, Big Fan, Two Friends, 82,490 Miles, and the Wild, Wonderful Sports We Love. Gentlemen, a pleasure talking to you as always, Joe.
Thank you.
See you later. Thank you for being on with us.
That's it.
Go get the book. Support the people who support us. We love both of those guys. Both of those guys are at the top of the food chain on making excellent things in their respective crafts. I wanted to ask you guys about some sound that really surprised me because this is going to be an emotional night in New York. I don't know how bitter Charles Oakley is about the fact that he's not allowed to be around the proceedings because James Dolan has banned him. The last time we heard of Charles Oakley at the Garden, he was being escorted out by security in a way that was super embarrassing.
I mean, escorted out. He was like rushed out. They threw him out.
Yeah, physically threw out Charles Oakley with a phalanx of people in security. Can you get for me both Roy and Amin heard phalanx and just thought penis? Both of them. I saw it on their face.
It stopped everybody in their tracks here. I had never heard that word before.
What does that mean? A group of people?
Can you
Phalanx,
spell it?
right?
Like a bit of an army. It's PHALANX.
That sounds like penis.
Is what I'm going to
Alice.
guess.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
look
know
it up.
that I saw that on both of your
You couldn't
faces.
say a lot of people?
I could have, but a phalanx is more impressive. It's a
That
bit
sure
of,
is.
It's a bit of an army.
You're right. Yeah.
He's right.
You're a man of the people, Dan. Just like Joe Posnanski and Mike Schur rubbernecking at a Buffalo Wild Wings. That was crazy.
It was a lot of people that escorted Charles Oakley out. Did you know that Charles Oakley had this kind of hostility toward Patrick Ewing? Because Mike Schur accused me of being hostile. But what you're about to hear here, and I don't know, you're in basketball circles. Did you know that the disdain ran quite this deep? Because listen to what Charles Oakley had to say about one of New York's favorite sons, Patrick Ewing.
But Patrick, not to be man enough to come and talk to me after I had his back for 10 years, he's a coward.
Could that relationship between you and Patrick be salvaged in any way, Charles, or is it over?
No. The last draw was when he was in Cleveland, and he knew I'm from Cleveland. He knew I was at the game and didn't speak to me. Many times he's been in my mother's house. You can't speak to me? No. I'm drawing lines. That's the line. I played him for 10 years. He's just not a good person. He might make money, did All-Star Dream Team. That don't make you a good person. And everybody's just saying, well, he mad because you said he was a leader. He's not a leader. If you ask 100 players, maybe one guy said he was a leader. 2 people, maybe Mark Jackson and Trent Tucker.
That's some poison.
That's shocking.
Oak is hurt. He's hurt that he feels like he got done dirty by Jim Dolan, which he did, and that his guys that he bled for and fought for and all that stuff are kind of like, yeah, no, we're just going to go to the game and hang out and be Dolan's basically, set dressing to show that everything's cool. Remember, the whole, Nick alums coming to the games and stuff, that really started taking off after the Oakley thing because they wanted to show, oh, no, look, everyone else is cool. It's just Charles
Right,
Oakley.
Oakley was always there.
Yeah.
Even when they were like a nothing.
Yes.
And you're right. This has been more of a recent thing.
It's sports washing. It's Knicks washing, I guess you could call it. And so Oak is hurt, very deeply hurt, that, Patrick didn't have his back.
Is he saying he's not a leader because Ewing hasn't gone to Dolan and fought for him? Is that what it is?
I think at that point it's just like, I'm going to just throw all the knives at him, right? And say, oh, he was never our leader and stuff like that. I don't know if he was or wasn't. But I think the big thing to me is that he said at that game in Cleveland that he didn't come and say, what's up to me? And, I don't blame Patrick because guess what? Big Brother is watching. And anytime these guys are anywhere on Knicks time, they are being surveilled like everyone else. And so there's a part of this where, I'm sure Patrick would have loved to come up to him and say, man, it's terrible what's happening. But it's like, I don't want to be seen cavorting with, quote-unquote, the enemy. And look, and I know exactly how Charles Oakley feels because there were people that I worked with at ESPN who were friends, and then as soon as Adrian was around, they acted like they couldn't stand next to me. They literally were like, I can't be here too long. Wow. I can't be seen next to you. And so, you're like, wait a second, I fought for you. I was one of the people who was fighting for your content to be on air and stuff and talking about it. And then this is how you repay me? It sucks. It really does sting. But I think we're all taken aback because he calls him not a good man.
A coward.
A coward. You could call him a coward, but say he's not a good person. I think that's taken a little too far.
Can you imagine you watch all those battles in the 90s, the Knicks and the Bulls and the Pacers and the Heat, and Charles Oakley is going to call Patrick Ewing a coward and a bad person?
I think he's calling him a coward with regards to this situation.
I understand.
So I can see it because I know the feeling. I know the people who literally did not want to be seen around me because they felt like that would make their standing in the company a little shakier. But to call him a bad person, I don't call any of those people bad people, So to call him a bad person, that's just a hurt Charles Oakley trying to go over the top with his criticism.
I understand why he's hurt, though. Oakley can't get into the arena. Never mind getting bad seats. These tickets are really hard to get. I have a handful of celebrity friends who don't know if they're going to be able to get into the game because
they're able to go. They have to pay.
Handful, huh?
No, but it's not just having to pay. It's having to pay and wanting to get something that resembles decent seats. You don't want to be somebody who is a celebrity and is sitting 70 rows into the upper deck because you can't get into good seats because they're so hard to get.
So Sam Morrill and who else?
No, Hank is looking for tickets. Method Man is looking for tickets. There are an assortment of people who are looking for tickets.
Mayor Mamdani is going to be upstairs. Yeah. He's a man of the people.
The thing that I wanted to ask you about Oakley, though, if you have not followed Pablo Torre Finds Out, the Pulitzer Prize-winning podcast that is part of Meadowlark Media, there are a number of different stories that he has done that are evergreen, and one of them was the surveillance story involving James Dolan and how it is that they are monitoring Knicks fans in a way that feels deeply un-American, like feels privacy invasive. And Charles Oakley, at the center of that, was escorted out of the arena as one of the most popular Knicks there have been, because I think I can say that about Charles Oakley. New York really loved his rugged playing style that wasn't, doing much scoring, but he was an enforcer for that team. To see him escorted out of the stadium and no longer welcome
It
back.
was a scene. Like Oakley was shoving and pushing security off of him, and then it's like they bum rushed him and essentially carried him through the crowd.
A phalanx of security people escorted Charles Oakley out. When mentioning the Pablo Torre Finds Out podcast, though, I don't know if you guys saw here that Adam Silver said that he wants to get this wrapped up soon, and he kept saying the words, and God, this was funny to see because Pablo has got all of them boxed in, just journalistically fact-checked. There is no place to move, and all Silver's moves are independent. We've got an independent law firm. Independent. The law firm is independent. Well, I think what's going to end up happening here is they're going to penalize the Clippers, but Ballmer's going to skate because people don't realize that Silver works for Ballmer, not the other way around.
Dan, I don't know. I think that the noose is tightening smaller and smaller around this where you can't wriggle out of this if you're Steve Ballmer. Remember when we dropped our episode during the Sloan Sports Analytic Conference, at that point in the investigation, not only had they not interviewed Steve Ballmer, they didn't ask anyone, not a single person they talked to. Not once did they say the name Steve Ballmer. They asked about Uncle Dennis, they asked about Kawhi, they asked about everything else. They didn't ask about Steve Ballmer, and I don't think that they knew that that would get out. And what's making this different, this is the part that I don't know if Wachtell Lipton fully grasps it. I don't know if the league fully grasps it. I don't know if other media entities fully grasp it. It's this. Usually when we have a scandal, the Wachtell Lipton goes in to investigate, like they did with the Suns, like they did with the Mavericks and all these other, like they did with the Clippers the first time around with Donald Sterling. The people they're interviewing are people who are in and around basketball. So not only are they talking to them, but they might be talking to other media people. And at the end of the day, the people who have the most information are Wachtell Lipton, the law firm, because they've done all the interviews and they've got all the things, and this is what happened. We have a definitive piece of paper that tells everyone else, hey, this is what happened. In this case, the people they're interviewing, a lot of them, are not in the basketball world. So there's no part of this where it's like, I have to worry about will I ever work again if I say this on the record or not. That doesn't exist, number one. Number two, if I am going to talk to someone, none of these media people, I don't know these basketball media people. I talked to one person, and that's Pablo, because Pablo spent 6 months building trust with these people in a way that no one else could just parachute in. And number three, Dan, and this is the big one, when Wachtell Lipton puts out the report and said, this is what happens, they are not the most informed people. Pablo Torre Finds Out is the most informed source, and we can sit there and say, no, you guys didn't ask about this? No, you didn't know about this? Every turn, we are revealing and unleashing new information that hasn't come out yet, and that's why they can't wrap this thing up, because they always have to kind of tie those loose ends, and they can't.
What's the distinction you're making between revealing and unleashing? Because I feel that Pablo is just revealing it. I don't think that he's unleashing it. I thought he was just revealing it.
Did you watch that last episode? That was an unleashing, where Steve Ballmer and his lawyer, of their own volition, admit to having a side deal. That's insane. Why would they do that on the record in their victim impact testimony? It is so nuts. I was watching, I couldn't believe it. But we got that document, and now the chess game begins. Is Steve Ballmer and his lawyer, are they sloppy? Or is this their way of saying, oh, no, we got ahead of it. We admitted to it. We caught the balls off of us.
I want to talk about this for a second because of how rare it is in my experience, not just in sports journalism, but in any kind of journalism. I want to get to what happened to Scott Pelley in 60 Minutes in a second, because your most trusted institutions for news are falling apart in front of you, and it's going to be super damaging. But the thing that I haven't seen happen a whole lot is the world's richest sports owner and the NBA are trailing a journalist on being informed on something. What Pablo keeps doing, it's now 11 episodes. The last one is pretty damning, and I think some people have some weariness here. But in terms of being able to hit the powerful with facts that they can't evade, Zaslow, I have had in front of me while I'm watching this happen, I feel like I'm watching Silver and Ballmer get undressed because Pablo has information that's so far out in front of information that they have that I can just imagine Ballmer, his lawyers, and Silver getting to each episode from Pablo and being like, mother bleep. I don't mean to speak like Stone Cold Steve Austin when he's chasing his cat around the ranch, but mother bleep, this guy, every time we think we're out ahead of something, we fall behind again because the journalist has his facts in such order that there's no way to move around what he's presenting. This is setting up so that what the league, the law firm, and Ballmer all do can still look like a lie if they put the wrong information in front of Pablo, because he seems to have more information that not just the people investigating, but also the investigators. Like, not just the people being investigated, but the investigators. You tell me, what you made of the last episode, because each episode seems more damning than the last.
And that's my point, Dan, is at every point where they can pretend, hey, we asked all the questions, turns out there might be a couple more questions that you didn't ask that Pablo's asking, and he's backing it up with documentation. I think it's also wild that the Clippers continue to characterize Pablo. They did this. They revealed this also in the episode where in their legal filings, they characterize Pablo as like this clickbait talking head. Guys, he won a Pulitzer. You're done. You're done. Joe Varden of The Athletic.
Are they done?
No, they're done as far as using that as a defense, that Pablo's just some muckraker, like we're just TMZ or something. That's done. You can't do that anymore. Joe Varden of The Athletic asked Adam Silver in the State of the Union press conference he had before Game 1. He said, since all this has happened, there's been a Pulitzer Award awarded. How does that impact how you guys do it? And, Adam did his thing where he wriggles out. So, well, we're letting them do their independent. But the reality is, it's not really independent, is it? Because you know who pays the bills for that independent, research or whatever?
The NBA.
The NBA, specifically the team that's being investigated. The Clippers are paying the bills. So Steve Ballmer's paying these lawyers to investigate. And they can say independent all they want. But guess what? If I'm the law firm that the NBA turns to every single time we have a scandal and I'm doing these investigations, do I want to make the NBA look bad? Do I want that? Do I think that making the NBA look bad
You're right.
will have them hire me again?
So how can anyone look at this with at face value and think that there's any kind of integrity here?
The only way is by literally public shame, and that's what Pablo's been doing. He's putting them in a position where if you guys try funny business on this, and we're gonna slap Kawhi on the wrist, and we're gonna and Lawrence Frank has to go away somewhere, but Steve Ballmer gets to live his life like nothing happened, like he didn't do anything. If they do that, it will be so ridiculous, so outlandish, and it will be so loud, not only from Pablo, but from millions of basketball fans.
That's what they're going to do.
Millions of basketball fans were like, why does that guy get to cheat?
Though. Zaz, you have to wait before making that determination. You have to wait to see what the penalty is. It seems like you can be skeptical. It seems like you can be skeptical specifically because they're not, or they weren't, as of recently, asking questions about Ballmer. But until the ruling comes down, you can't simply jump to the conclusion that they're not going to do anything.
And it's just so happened that it's going to wrap up like right when the season ends? Come on.
So Adam said, it can't go on forever. He wants it to wrap up soon. My guess is that they're obviously not going to make any announcements during the finals. That's out of the question.
That's fine.
They're probably not going to want to do anything with the draft. So probably it would be after
right,
draft.
God forbid the Clippers lose picks in the draft.
No, he said he wanted to get it wrapped up before the draft because everybody needs to know what their standing is before the draft. Like, you need to have an understanding of who and what you're trading for because you know who's been penalized for what. Like, Silver said specifically that you can investigate something forever. They have to wrap the investigation up, and I assume they're going to wrap it up in the next 3 weeks, don't you?
Maybe. I don't know. Again, if they think they've got it wrapped up and Pablo drops another episode, look at this document that we found. can you really?
But he just said you can't investigate. You can investigate forever, but you can't investigate forever.
But you can't come to a conclusion. Again, this all goes back to what's the intention here? Is our intention of actually find the truth, or is our intention to say, okay, how can we mete out an adjudication that keeps this guy protected and segregated from all the punishments going to happen to everybody else?
Have they been investigating this now longer than Pablo worked on it before he broke the original story?
So we broke the story in September. The investigation started shortly thereafter, maybe a few weeks later. And so now that would be
like 8 or 9 months they've been investigating, and Pablo's original reporting was about 6 months.
Pablo started in February.
What are we doing?
He started February 2025, and our first episode dropped September of 2025. So however many months that is, 7 months, right? Like
it's like 9 months.
From February to September?
Oh, no, I'm talking about from October.
Really don't want to be caught in this quicksand. It doesn't really matter. A judge in district court in Lubbock County, Texas, has granted the injunction requested by Texas Tech QB Brendan Sorsby, and he is now set to be eligible for the 2026 season per Pete Thamel. I'm curious what you guys think. Kevin Clark has tweeted about this. As disastrous a ruling as there has ever been in modern sports, the pathway is now clear. Gamble as much as you like, including on your own team, and hope you are or get good enough that you can lawyer up down the line. A much bigger disaster than anything with NIL or the portal.
I agree. This was one that I was actually rooting for some clear rules and finally for the players to not win one of these. But the NCAA is the Washington Generals when it comes to court battles, which is why they're trying to go behind everybody's back and have the government just rule in their favor, because they simply do not win cases on merit.
You have somebody who has gone, whether it's a public relations maneuver or because he realizes that he has a problem, who has gone to rehab because he's got a gambling problem that bets all over the place, and he's going to be a starting quarterback for one of the playoff teams last year as Texas Tech continues to get more and more in the game in major sports in all the ways, including blatant, flagrant injustice and corruption.
You little mother.
Hey everyone, Jeremy here. Just gonna look for your questions here in our comments. Someone asked, is it Jeremy Taché time? Yes, it is. So any questions you guys have here, I'll try to get to as many as I can as we continue to stay live. We're going to be live here through the very end of the show. So any questions you guys have, we're here for a live Q&A. So hit me with whatever you got. I'm looking forward to sticking around, but we'll be live for the full show all week long, which is exciting. We've been live all day the last couple of weeks as well, or last week as well. So it'll be back-to-back weeks here. But anything you guys got, happy to answer any questions. As I hear the audio there on our YouTube, the new Backyard Baseball releases July 9th. What are your
All-time favorite sports video games. Ooh, that's a great question. For me, MVP Baseball 2005. If you watch the pitch clock, you know that. We stick with that and rosters from it all the time. I also loved, if anyone remembers Slugfest, it was incredible. It was like during the steroid era. And it was basically like in the game, if you got hit by a pitch, you would get angry and you would light on fire and you could go beat up the opposing team. Like you could punch people on the bases. That was also if you got a couple of hits in a row, you'd be on fire. Incredible game. If you haven't ever played Slugfest, you should go find it. I used to play it on the GameCube. Someone asked, are you writing Baseball the musical? God, I would love that. Maybe one day. Is staying live. Let's see. What's the worst part of the DLS life? Bullying. World Cup bucket of death. Ooh, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea. Maybe I'll get everyone to be able to do that. I saw an awesome thing that I want to add to the grid of death. Over the weekend, you guys can look it up. Lily Allen did a performance where she was wearing a costume that just said cuck on it. And I think that would be really, really good for Zaslow to have to do as a bucket of death punishment. Ooh, my favorite part of the Tonys. Well, might have something for you here in hour 3. We'll see. But I really, really loved watching Cola Scola and Maya Rudolph play around with each other. It was awesome. What happened to the Ray Hudson sound of the day? That's a great question. I'm going to suggest that we bring it back in the next hour. I'm going to write that down. Hold on. How about that extra first base for safety? No, the extra first base for safety is stupid. Ray Hudson sound of the day. Adding that. What's the worst part of the life? I think waking up and stubbing your toe is probably the worst thing that can happen. I normally wake up before my wife does. And so I wake up, I keep the lights dark, and I try to walk to our bathroom. And truly one of the worst feelings in the world is stubbing my toe on the edge of the bed before the day starts. Let's see what else we've got here. Why isn't the show normally live? That's just simply like a production decision. So now we're trying this out. We're going to see how this goes. It's really difficult. I don't know if you guys understand quite the logistical challenge that it is for a studio team, that it is from a tech side, that it is for us to not really be taking very long breaks at any given moment, and to be able to continue to do this without making major mistakes throughout it. There's also a fun, Dan talks about it all the time, there's a fun balancing act to being live. So we're trying it out right now because we think you guys will enjoy it, and we're trying to offer a longer show, but we'll see how it sticks. Enjoying it right now. What is my dream broadcasting job? No joke, all the ones I have right now. If I could do exactly what I'm doing with the Miami Heat and with the Miami Marlins and what I'm doing here with Le Batard for the next, forever, I'd be the happiest guy in sports media. Let's see what else we got. Scrolling down, auto refresh. Favorite ice cream flavor? You guys might hate it. I love mint chocolate chip. Specifically, if you ever get a chance to go to Jackson's Ice Cream in Dania Beach, Florida, go get the mint chocolate chip. It has like the giant chunks of chocolate in it. I love it. It's my favorite. This might be, I like root beer jelly beans. I like root beer. I like pumpernickel. I like a lot of weird flavors, which shouldn't be surprising. Let's see what else we got. What's Dan's favorite color? Aqua? How's your girl Jane Levy? She's great. I talked to her recently, probably like 2 or 3 weeks ago, just to check in and say hello. And she's doing great. Still as wonderful as ever. One of my favorite people in the sports world. Let's see. What's your social security number? No, thank you. Who from the show would be your beer pong partner? Absolutely Chris Cody. No questions asked. Least hesitation I will have on any question. Let's see. This is electric, right? You guys are really enjoying this. What happens if Brightline goes out of business? I cry incessantly. It will make my job very difficult, and I will hate driving down here, and the shiny, happy attitude that you see from me all the time will cease to exist. Roy's video of the day, maybe something that comes up as well. Thoughts on the new Bleachers album? This is a great question. I'm very, very, very happy with a few of the songs on there, little by little. It's funny the way that show or that band has merged from a deep 80s synth pop band into more Springsteen-y, which is good for me if you know anything about me. If you haven't had a chance to watch it yet, they did a free show at the Stone Pony in New Jersey right when their album came out. And they started with Sideways, which is maybe the best song on the album, which starts off the album. And they played a full 23-song show, and it's free on YouTube. You should go watch it. That's one of my favorite bands. They put on an unbelievable live show. Sideways is one of my favorites. We Should Talk is one of my favorites. Upstairs at ELS is another one of my favorites. Let's see what else we got. Are you doing this live bit in an attempt to make Dan like you? Yes. Are you going to run for governor? My brother is more likely to run for governor than I am. No, Rupert jelly beans are good. I think they're delicious. I do agree with whoever said that vanilla is their favorite ice cream flavor. It is a flavor. Of course it's a flavor. Best score I've ever gotten in bowling is 198. I was very, very angry with myself. How's Kamala Harris doing? Don't know. Let's see. Happy belated birthday. Hey, thanks. I appreciate that. It was a wonderful birthday weekend. I got to spend it with my in-laws, and everything was wonderful. Next upcoming prospect to watch for the Marlins, check out Kemp Alderman, check out Carson Milbrandt, check out Thomas White. You'll see them sometime soon. But we're going to go ahead and get back to the show. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Let us know what you think in the comments, and hopefully we can bring some more of these to you during breaks. But I'm going to go do the show. I'll see you guys in a minute.
Brian Windhorse on Carl Anthony Towns.
Please, sir.
Quote, he's kicking Wembanyama's ass in this series, and if he can do it for a couple of more days, he's going to the Hall of Fame. And I do believe, and Zazzle and I were just talking about this during the break before we get to Amin's weekend observations, I do believe that you're about to see as crazed and wonderful a fan experience as you will ever see bonkers with how it is New York reacts to all of this. Their team being a betting underdog, their team having the smallest player, their ability to say this is against all odds. We have a bunch of players and a coach who were doubted. We're facing this extraterrestrial who's 7'3", and we unmasked him. We proved that he was not ready quite yet for whatever it is his dynastic building will bring in the future. This is going to be nuts tonight. And then also the President of the United States is going to be literally sitting in the middle of it because he's having trouble standing.
We didn't talk about this enough. I interviewed James Edwards III of The Athletic yesterday on SiriusXM Radio, and he talked about the logistical differences. They're telling the media people, hey, once the president is in the building, wherever you are, that's where you're going to be. There's a lot of questions that if he stays to the end of the game, are the media even going to be able to get to the interview room to interview the coaches and the players? Because with all the Secret Service security details out there, this thing is not going to be like a regular game where people can come and go as they choose to go get drinks or water or whatever.
I don't think that I'm being hyperbolic when I do believe tonight is going to be the most outrageous fan experience. It's the biggest game in New York City in 50 years. There's
ever.
Right. You can make the case ever, and I think I agree. I mean, there have been some massive Yankee games, right? But I think this is right there, if nothing else, and you have the entire city that roots for the New York Knicks. And I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be so much fun to watch. I love just watching it from a fan perspective, even though it is Knicks fans. I think it's going to be wild tonight. I do just wonder, there's a part of me, and it probably won't matter, but when the cheapest ticket to get in the building is, like $12,000?
It's a car.
How can a regular Knicks fan afford that, But it's going to be packed. It's going to be sold out, and it's going to be crazy, so I guess it doesn't matter, right?
This is also the first road game that the president is ever played, right? And I know what you mean. Well, he's from New York. No, he picks so wisely the places that he shows up at because it guarantees a warm reception, be it NASCAR races,
UFC,
the SEC, UFC, the national championship game down here in Miami, which is like the only MAGA metropolis. He has been wise about the places that he's chosen. He is going to a famously liberal city. And yes, the clientele over there to get in the building, you got to be very affluent. But take the temperature of the country right now. Vibes ain't great. And this is certainly, on the surface, potentially the most hostile crowd he's ever faced when he's tried to reach out to sports to kind of normalize himself and gain acceptance. I'm very curious because tonight, depending on how the Knicks fans react, it could be memorable for a lot of reasons.
Well, and I'm sorry, I mean, what also is going to wind up happening because everyone is being forced to get to the arena super early tonight, that arena, it has the potential of being super jacked up.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
and nasty, though.
Yeah.
New York can be nasty,
Look.
and they're going to be angry about the fact that he's causing them 2 hours of delays.
100%. I can only imagine what it's going to be like in Madison Square Garden because it's a confined
It's right
area.
next to Penn Station. It's going to be so crowded.
I went to the national championship game, and I dealt with the extra layer of security there, and I dealt with a lot of people, and there were certainly a lot of Republicans around me that were also quite frustrated with their experience trying to get into that building.
No, that'll be nothing compared to tonight. Nothing.
Yeah, New Yorkers love nothing more than to complain about something that other people would be awed at. Ooh, the president's here. Like, shut up, get out of my way. And that has no bearing on how they voted. But Dan, to illustrate the complexity of a night like tonight, so you've got, again, the Knicks hosting a finals game for the first time in nearly 30 years. You got all the celebrities that come to those games anyway on a Tuesday in January. They're coming tonight, right? You've got Victor Wembanyama, the most recognizable athlete right now, right? Then you got the Knicks up 2-0. Now you've got the sitting president, and you've got the most popular mayor.
Always sitting because he can't stand up.
Yeah, there you go. And the most popular mayor in New York City history upstairs. So, keeping track. You have Secret Service. You have the mayor's security detail. You have NYPD. You have NBA security. You have Madison Square Garden security. And all of these units need to be in communication with one another. We've never seen an event like this ever before.
You see behind, if you're watching live on YouTube or the DraftKings Network, if you're watching us on Peacock and NBC Sports Now, you see Donald Trump sitting in a way that you might see someone sit if they'd had a seizure in a nursing home. He doesn't sit up straight sometimes, even while people around him are sitting up straight. It does look unhealthy the way that he simply sits.
I have been to Madison Square Garden when the president has been there, though, and their operations were pretty good. I know it was a totally different time. That was the first term, and things are a little bit different right now. But Madison Square Garden has handled this exact situation before, but they handled it with a UFC crowd. This is a whole different
Not this exact
deal.
situation. There's never been this exact situation. I'm purposeful in saying the times that New York has felt like this is after 9/11, when the Yankees are playing the Diamondbacks, when the Giants are playing the undefeated Patriots. But those are just sports stories. Those are, even though they had emotional ties, especially, obviously, the 9/11 link. It wasn't an arena in the center of the town, something that they embrace as their Mecca, even though it hasn't been Mecca in 50 years. And it's been 53 years since it felt like the Mecca of basketball. Using the phrase Mecca of basketball has been a punchline for a quarter century because of how irrelevant their basketball team is. And they've dwarfed a great Stanley Cup final, great Stanley Cup final. They're dwarfing it because of what that city feels about this sport, that team, that arena. So when I say to you, Amin, and we'll get to Amin's weekend observations in a second, that Wemby's never felt what he's going to feel tonight, because it's not just the pressure and being down 0-2. It's what Windhorst and people like Barkley are saying when they're talking about what's happening in this series. This is a quote from Charles Barkley. Wemby is in shock right now. Been a long time since he got his ass kicked like this. He's going to own the league soon, but right now he's being owned. Karl Anthony Towns is taking him to the woodshed. Wemby's never been under this kind of duress when this kind of tired.
Yeah, I mean, Dan, this is the part where someone asked me, well, how do you learn? Because I'm like, there's some things you can't just learn. So how do you learn? I said, unfortunately, it's happening before our eyes. How does he learn? He learns by turning it over with less than 10 seconds. He learns by taking a bad shot. He learns by popping instead of rolling. All of these things that's happening. We're watching the education of Victor Wembanyama right now. Unfortunately, that graduation won't happen until after they've lost this series, and it'll happen for years to come. But I'm trying to remember every single one of the great players had to struggle. They had to go through the struggle. LeBron had to go through what he went through in 2011. Shaq had to get swept by Hakeem Olajuwon, right? Kobe Bryant had to shoot 4 air balls in Utah. Even Magic Johnson, who you could say, oh, no, he won at the gate. But after that, losing to the Celtics, people don't remember it now. They used to call him Tragic Johnson because he played so poorly in that first
He'd already won 2 finals. They called him Tragic Johnson.
Think about that. They all went through this. So as much as we love him and he's different and all this and he reads and he went to the park and he plays chess and he's with the monks and all that stuff, you still have to eat this shit sandwich.
What do you learn?
Let's do Amin's weekend observations.
It is time for to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy.
Let's do that again.
Yeah, yep.
Dan, what in the Biff's 1985? The Knicks are 2 wins away from completing a dominant sweep. Victor Wembanyama looks like a scared little kid. Donald Trump is powerful and corrupt and married to a Slovenian. And this has happened to me. I'm in Miami instead of New York. The Spurs way to prove me absolutely right about 2 weeks too late. Told y'all. Mitch Johnson saying he needs to make sure there's environments that the ball finds Wemby. It's like Tony Montana saying he has to make sure to do a little bump before those armed men come through the door. Stanley Cup Finals. What'd I miss? Vegas strikes a blow against cheapskates everywhere. Do we feel like this? We need Vegas to win so that Tom Don does not walk around high off of his horse talking about, oh, yeah, see, I was cheap on everything and now I won.
And because we hate Carolina.
Yeah, that's it right there.
French Open. That's what Mitch Johnson ought to be screaming at his guards. The French guy is open. Give him the damn ball. French Open. Maya Chwalinska had to win 3 qualifying matches just to make it to the French Open itself. She ended up making it all the way to the final before finally losing. Her prize check for being second place, Dan, is worth more than her entire career earnings. Now, I wish I could say I learned all that from the tennis group chat I'm in with Mike Ryan and Adam Lefko and John Isner, but unfortunately, it's not that kind of chat. Donald Trump, want a name? Donald Trump says he's coming to Game 3. Doesn't it start after his bedtime?
He doesn't sleep.
Oh, no. He wakes up early. He does not stay up late. That's him getting up. When you do those tweets at 3 a.m., he's woken up. Now, you see right here? That's what's going to be happening. Right behind me? That lean, Is he sitting courtside, or is he going to be in a suite?
He's going to be in a box.
No way
way
is
he's
he feet on the wood. No way.
Karl Anthony Towns, MVP. There had to be someone who laid down serious dough on that on the DraftKings Sports app, which is now live in all 50 states. New season of Bar Rescue. And we've got you covered at Here's the Science of Bar Rescue podcast. Hosted by real-life bar and restaurant consultant Chelsea Reynolds, commercial kitchen and food truck vet Colin Cassard, and two guys who will not be asleep in the middle of Game 3, Zach Harper and myself. Hey, Wemby, you have the ball. It's a tie game. There are less than 10 seconds in the game. It's your world. Why the fuck are you passing the ball? Hey, Stephon Castle, it's Game 2 of the NBA Finals. It's a tie game. There are less than 10 seconds in the game. Maybe keep your head up. I feel like the Vive en un country guy. You know that guy? Vive en un country. And he talks about, like, the grass is perfect. The ball costs 150 euros. Your cleats are perfect. You get a masseuse before the game. And then you blow the whole thing up. Oh, I love that guy, man. Hey, it's Cinnabon episode 312, Death Warrant, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, Robert Guillaume, a.k.a. Benson, and a bunch of people you've never heard of. The synopsis, Dan, are you ready for this one? For Death Warrant. An undercover officer investigates murder and mayhem in a prison where kickboxing comes in handy.
It often does in prison.
Doesn't that apply to every Van Damme movie? Kickboxing has to come in handy,
Yeah,
including Kickboxer.
But in that situation in particular, you like that as a core discipline.
Zaz, you know about that Death Warrant?
No.
You've never seen a Van Damme movie, right?
Sudden death.
Sudden Death's a good one.
It's a hockey movie first
Yeah?
and foremost.
He's the goalie.
The goalie.
It's Mighty Ducks.
It's all the same.
Let's go shake their hands.
NYPD announced that there will be no watch party outside of Madison Square Garden due to security concerns. Yeah, that ought to endear the president to the people. The whole TSA thing, showing up 4 hours early to go to a basketball game. Midtown Manhattan will be a seventh layer of hell, folks. Speaking of hell, Sedona, what the hell are you doing, man? Why is he in this bathrobe? Why does he have tea and, like...
Those two things don't go together. Pretzels and tea.
And champagne?
Put it on the poll. Do pretzel and tea go together? Do pretzels and tea go together?
Why are his legs so close together? Those are the weekend observations, folks.
I want to get to some movie-related topics in a second, but before I do that, Scott Pelley sat down with the New York Times, and the New York Times reporter asked him a lot of very good questions. It's a long interview. It is worth your time if you care about journalism. I don't think that most people care about journalism the way Scott Pelley does, because the way he's reacting to this, and he said it a couple of times, the way CBS is behaving with 60 Minutes, he's comparing it to somebody murdering your spouse because of how he cares about 60 Minutes. And one of the things that he was saying, and it's very persuasive, these are people I have been on the front lines of war with. These are people who have saved my life in circumstances. And one of the great institutions in the history of American journalism, and maybe the greatest institution in the history of televised American journalism, is being slaughtered from the inside in the name of change, in the name of the President of the United States has made it so that in weaponizing government arms, he has made it so that these institutions have to choose commerce, or feel like they have to choose under duress commerce over journalism. And so Scott Pelley, who is 69 years old and went out of his way at every turn to say, look, this is not about me. It's about protecting this thing that helps police democracy. Whether you think 60 Minutes is biased or not, 60 Minutes has a standard of objectivity and fairness that most journalistic institutions don't have, and is now coming under the duress of. If you combine money with this particular administration, what you have is a gutting of principles that protect democracy. And I don't know how the audience feels about 60 Minutes, but 60 Minutes was having record-breaking ratings digitally and otherwise. They've modernized 60 Minutes so that it remains a pillar of not just credibility, but also profit. So you cannot say that this thing is what Colbert was, which is too expensive to bear. The changes going on at 60 Minutes to undercut it make it so that I ask you guys legitimately, when you see what's happened with Bezos at the Washington Post, when you see what's happened to the New York Times over the last 5 years, where it isn't what it was, what is the institution that's going to be left standing here that protects democracy journalistically? Is it going to be Pablo Torre finds out and nothing else?
I think this one's cutting close to the bone because I always thought that network TV would be safe from this. You had cable news for your opinionated, slanted coverage. But when Scott Pelley, and he did this in New York Times, the interview, it's available on YouTube, when he describes the thumb on the scale, that is not a news item. It's like an intention from Bari Weiss to find videos of protesters being extra violent, to change a narrative that that Renee Good was trying to drive her car into the person that shot her, the agent that shot her, when from an objective, investigative point of view, where Scott Pelley was coming from, that just simply was not the truth. You are trying to alter the truth and not actually using the truth. You are using conservative talking points handed down from the White House to change reality. And I can't believe that 60 Minutes is no longer immune to it and network TV is no longer immune to it. And all of this is because we are consolidating all these media companies. And as a deal to get these deals brokered, they are making promises to a corrupt administration just so they can get everything approved by the government.
It's not just a corrupt administration, though. 60 Minutes has already been gutted, okay? And it's going to die here. It will not be the same thing, and it'll be changed so much that you don't actually recognize it. Anderson Cooper has left, and they're filing it under, well, we need to modernize this, but I will tell you again that 60 Minutes was doing very well digitally. Here's the part, though, that is most offensive to me as somebody who cares on checks and balances on power by journalism. You're not merely succumbing to a corrupt administration. You're succumbing to the least popular president in the history of American polling. So it's not even him at full strength. It's him just using government powers and licenses and the arming of federal agencies to do things that are being done by somebody who has a lower approval rating with the American people than anybody who's ever been in office. So it's not even real power backed by the American people. It's just power that's been granted to him by the office, an office that he doesn't respect and uses to line his pockets and the pockets of his family in a way that games the entirety of the system.
Yeah, I mean, like this all, Mike mentioned it, this is all about late-stage American capitalism, right? So see, Paramount gets bought by David Ellison and the Ellison family. They are very right-wing, right? And they're doing this consolidation of stuff. The only way you can go through is with approval because FTC and, we have anti-monopoly kind of legislation in there that prevents from this happening. But you can get around it if the government basically plays ball. And the government has said to you, we will play ball if you play ball for us, meaning you give us the coverage and the slants that we want, and all this will go through. That's why this whole Time Warner thing was such a big deal that Skydance and Paramount are getting them, as opposed to Netflix. And I'm not sure that Netflix getting them would have been better. Like, it's still kind of the same problem. Rich people amassing all of the media so that they control everything. There was a James Bond movie, was it Tomorrow Never Dies, where it was all about, it's so prescient. It came out in the 90s, but the guy was like the biggest newspaper guy in the world. He wanted to own all the newspapers, and he could just make up the news to benefit himself. And it sounded so ridiculous at the time. But we're at that place, Dan. There's a reason why in communist Russia, all they had was Pravda, right? Like the state-run media outlet. Because when you want to control what people know, you control the media. You tell them only what this point of view is, with the hope that they will be too lazy to seek out alternate means which are already cut off from them. We're seeing that in real time right now with the consolidation of all these media companies, where everything from the news to movies to TV shows, everything created with that thumb on the scale that Mike is talking about.
What's going to be left as the signature thing that people trust for news? If you knock out the places that people go, like Colbert or Jimmy Kimmel or CNN or HBO Max, like what's going to be left?
Well, right now, the gold standard, I think, is the New York Times in terms of like what journalism is supposed to mean. However, it's a newspaper industry, it's print, and people aren't really doing that these days. You could usually count on network television, but what's tricky about network television is they're actually subject to the FCC. There's licenses. The government can actually control that. Most people think that the FCC can control things that you see on ESPN. No, cable is a whole different thing. But network television used to be sacrosanct, and it's not anymore. It used to be just milquetoast kind of, this is the news, zero opinion, zero tilting of it one way. And that is not the reality we're living in anymore.
So the irony of it is we live in an era now where, because of the internet and the YouTube and streaming, the barrier's all down. So you could say, hey, these guys get Warner, and the first thing they do is they kill Last Week Tonight, and then they'll kill The Daily Show, and they'll kill all these things. These trusted people, faces like John Oliver, they will still continue to exist. They'll be able to put out their own content, own their own content, and go directly to the people and not have to deal with the middleman of the networks. The flip side also is, number one, as the populace becomes less and less informed, they cannot tell the difference between someone who's credible and someone who's not. It's the same kind of tactics that the Clippers are using in calling Pablo Torre a talking head as opposed to a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, right? And then the next stage of that, though, Dan, is, okay, you can say, all right, we're all going directly to the people. We're going through YouTube. Well, YouTube is owned by a pretty big company, Google, and they're billionaires. And who's to say that they're not going to start putting their thumb on the scale, whether it's outright banning or pulling content, or whether it's as subtle as, the algorithm just doesn't happen to like your type of content, and so people aren't even able to find it.
That's the issue, and that's why AI is really the aesthetic of fascism, because when you can squash journalism and get rid of everything that you have here and then manipulate what people are seeing and create fake things, you end up with an ability to influence the way people learn anything.
I'm startled, Amin, by how heavy your tongue remains, and as it relates to the way all of this is going to change. I don't know if you guys saw, but Matt Damon says of Christopher Nolan's movie, The Odyssey, it's the last time that anyone's going to be able to make any movies like that, because Matt Damon's been talking to everybody about what's coming to film with AI and how much is going to change with the Christopher Nolans of the world no longer given the power to make the movies the way that they have made them before.
The problem, Dan, isn't that they can't make the movies the way they did before. The problem is the vehicle through which these movies made money, which was extended box office runs and then home video, right? Physical sales of DVDs. I was talking about this last night, where Shrek 2, which is a delightful movie, for the longest time, and it might still have this record, was the highest selling DVD of all time, right? So whatever they made at the theater, and they made a lot at the theater, they made multiple times over with home media. Many of the comedies and like those kind of
R-rated comedies existed primarily through video. Like what happened with Zoolander, everyone knows Zoolander. Box office bomb, came out during 9/11.
Yeah.
And it just had this whole second life on DVD and Blockbuster video. That whole market is gone.
So as a result, to make a movie like The Odyssey that costs a shit ton of money, right? It becomes increasingly more difficult to make the box office large enough to reconcile not only the cost of the movie, but the cost of marketing, which can go from 25 to 50% of the cost of the budget.
As you've seen Netflix take over Hollywood, there are very few directors who have the kind of cachet that Tarantino does when he says, mine's opening in the movie theater. So his next movie, which might be his last movie, is going to open in theaters. It's it's a sequel basically to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where it sort of follows. It might not be a sequel. It might be a prequel. It's following the story of Brad Pitt's character, Cliff Booth.
It's a series. This isn't a film. This is going to be a series that David Fincher is helming. Tarantino is not directing it, and it's going to be on Netflix.
And by the way, this just came out from the Hollywood Reporter. Netflix is no longer going to work with directors that insist on theatrical releases. So they're saying, look, we're not doing this anymore. Maybe Scorsese is grandfathered in, but at some point,
Tarantino's grandfathered in. He's starting in theaters with this. This is going to be in theaters for about 2 weeks and then is going to Netflix, because Tarantino and Scorsese are among the last ones that say, no, my thing needs to open in the theaters. I respect film more than I respect whatever it is that we're doing with television. And but there are very few directors who are going to be able to do that, and Netflix is going to be able to overpower them too.
Right. They've announced, like, this is it. Like, all these people here, when they die out, that'll be the end of that. And so everything is made for a home screen. And Netflix has certain kind of preferred viewing experience kind of guidelines of how the thing should look, how it should be, what color grade it should be. And as a result, that's with that homogenization of all of these Netflix contents looking alike. It's basically because Netflix said we want it to look like this. Well, a big part of movies is that, hey, this director and this DP, they want it to look like this. And losing that is losing the essence of what this storytelling tool is.
Tarantino, I saw quotes the other day, is crushing movies today. Doesn't like anything out there except one movie that really grabbed his attention, which he loved from start to finish. The Rip with Brad Pitt and Ben Affleck. The one, that takes place in
Hialeah.
In Hialeah.
No, it's Ben Affleck and Damon. It's not Brad Pitt.
Oh, I thought I said that. Sorry. The one that takes place in Hialeah. Quentin Tarantino loves that movie. Grabbed him from start to finish.
I liked it. I think people are being a little hyperbolic. I think Christopher Nolan's going to be just fine. I think there was always going to be.
Oh, but that movie's not going to make money.
We'll see. The Christopher Nolan movies do make money at the box office. He always has his market, and I think he can get big enough to a place that if he has a budget in mind, that there's always going to be an appetite, and I think that you're going to start seeing people rebel. I think you're going to see people going back to local news, smallly circulated newspapers. People rebel against their devices. I think that tide is turning. The same way that vinyl records came back, I think people are going to be yearning for a lifestyle that predated cell phones a little bit.
Matt Damon, if you've heard him interviewed recently, is talking about the innards of what's happening here with the change. And when he mentions the Rip, he's like, yeah, we have to establish again the storyline. We have to repeat it 11 times during what it is that we're doing to hit the viewer in the face again and again with what it is that we're trying to do with the storytelling. And I wonder if some of this stuff is going to be so antiseptic and algorithm-based that I don't know if you guys have seen some of what it is that happens with these games that you might play on the internet that are a little bit addictive, that you keep getting new games funneled to you that are more addictive than the original game because the formulas can figure out, based on what it is that you're doing, how to keep giving you stuff that will be more and more addictive. I wonder if all of that is going to take place so formulaically that the Matt Damons and the Tarantinos and the old people of this world are just going to be run off by Netflix's ability. You've heard me say this before as it relates to Netflix. Whatever you think their business is they're in the information business. They know how and why you consume, you being whoever's listening to this. They know based on how it is that they're gathering information that's exclusive to them, that they're proprietary about, that they share not even with the directors of the big movies because they want to have all of the information to themselves. I wonder how these tech companies are going to be able to game everything so that everything at Netflix looks a little bit the same.
It already does, Dan. But while we're talking about movies that look the same, let's talk about a movie that's terrible. Backrooms. Oh, my God.
You saw it?
I saw it. That movie's trash.
I've been wanting to see it because I love the horror movies. Me and my boys, we go to all the horror movies. Both my boys saw it last week. separately, and they both had the same reaction. They said it's not any good.
Zaz, the scariest thing about that movie is that I'm going to have to think about me spending 2 hours watching it.
So I shouldn't see it.
I mean, wait for it to come on streaming, and then you can shit on it from the privacy of your home.
I'll shit right on it.
No, this is the flip side of it. You want me to turn into a real old man here. Obviously, a lot of people have been making a big deal about 2 movies, Obsession.
Oh, what a movie.
And Backrooms. I haven't seen Obsession, but there's a part of me, as I'm witnessing all this fervor and having watched Backrooms last night, I'm like, are people going to these movies because they're good? Or are they going to these movies because they've seen the trend on TikTok? It's like, oh, that's cool. I want to be on the in crowd. I want to be on this trend, and so I'm going to go see this movie. Oh, it's made $1 gajillion. I want to be people who said, oh, I saw it in the theater. I don't know if it's an actual appreciation for the thing that's getting made, and that really sucks. Everything just turns into a trending topic or something to be part of rather than actually standing on its own merit.
I think that's happened with Obsession, because Obsession is growing in the box office every single week. So clearly there's a trend out there. It could be social media, TikTok, or whatever the hell. I think that is happening with Obsession. But in general, who cares? Like, isn't it just about whatever gets you to the theater to see this art?
I think I care. I care. I care that movies are getting made and seen because they tell a story that's good and not because people just want to be on the in crowd. That bothers me on some level.
This is different than like Minions, though, where you had a bunch of teenagers going to see Minions because there was like a funny trend you could do in the theater. People are going to see Obsession.
Minecraft, you mean?
Yeah, Chicken Jockey.
Yeah,
No, it was Minions first, where they were dressing as the Minions. But yeah, it was both. Either way, you had this like ridiculous thing that they were doing, and there was a bit involved in it. Where this seems to be people freaking out, reviewing the movie on TikTok, and it going viral in that way and getting people out to the theater, which is a good thing. We're not having the same amount of conversations face-to-face as a society, so sometimes those conversations have to happen online to get people out to a theater.
I do feel bad for certain cities that don't have like their local art house, a cinema that has a lot of cool stuff going around it. Down here, we have a really good one, the Coral Gables Theater. You can donate to it, and they have special showings and speaking engagements there. If you have the appetite for that sort of stuff, you have to go out and find it, but you will forever be served. The market is just too big for people that have a deep appreciation for everything that you romanticize about cinema. That market is always going to be there.
I'm going to the movies twice this week. I go to the movies. I'm someone who goes to the movies, but I couldn't tell you the last time I went to the movie theater twice in 1 week.
You have tickets already? You
Yeah.
buy your tickets well
Yeah.
in advance?
I do.
It's
yeah.
funny for a guy who hasn't seen any movies that you
Okay.
go to movies that often.
That's BS. But on Friday, I'm going to see Disclosure Day.
Oh, that one looks good.
You know about Spielberg?
I know all about that.
Dan?
During
You know about Steven Spielberg?
during Team USA's first game, you'll be at the movies.
I'll be all right. Don't worry. So I'm going to Disclosure Day on Friday. Now,
He's
did
Canadian.
I know that was Team USA at the same time? No, but it's okay. And on Wednesday, I'm going to see He-Man. Oh, I can't wait for He-Man. I was a little bit worried when I saw the trailer for He-Man. I grew up on He-Man. That was my #1 cartoon when I was a kid. I was a little bit worried when I saw the trailer, but massive positive reviews. Everyone loves the new He-Man movie.
Are you going to catch one with Brie Olsen?
Yo, I can't tell the difference. Like Brie Olsen, that's Captain Marvel?
No.
That's the other Brie.
No, that's the one that you named.
I make the
Friday.
same mistake.
Yeah,
I can't tell them apart. Brie Olsen, Brie Larson.
I get the names.
Catching you up, Dan. Zaz thought an actress name was the name of a porn star. That's the first one that
She's
came to
playing
his mind.
Evil Lynn in He-Man.
Yeah, the porn star is.
No, I didn't think it was the porn
Yes,
star.
you did.
I don't know her name.
You said Brie Olsen.
And this
We
is
all
Brie
kinda were
Larson.
like, did we mean? Well,
Brie-
it wasn't
Brie Larson.
either. It's Allison
It
Brie.
is Allison Brie.
Allison
Oh, man.
Brie.
From Community.
Zaslow mentioned, I just heard the word in everything that he just said, chicken there, and it made me think that we did not do enough with Tim Payne, the formerly anonymous soccer player who has now become an international legend with 5 million followers, because it was pointed out that he was the single most anonymous player playing in the World Cup, and we changed his anonymity by making him famous. Not we, but others did this. And it made me it reminded me that Tim Payne, in speaking or trying to speak Spanish, tried to say thank you for the support, but instead said thank you for the chicken.
Hola, todos. Muchas gracias por todo el pollo.
All the chicken.
Very much thanks for all of the chicken is the way that Tim Payne shed his anonymity.
Hola, todos. Muchas gracias por todo el pollo.
His following now on social media is greater than the population of the country he represents.
Again, though, all he had to say was apoyo instead of pollo, but he just said chicken.
Hola, todos. Muchas gracias por todo el pollo.
That Spanish could not be any worse. All of the accents are in the wrong place.
He's from New Zealand.
How many Spanish-speaking people do you think he's encountered in his life?
But hola? Like, you're hola.
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 Like, anybody can do hola.
Hola.
He did well there.
No.
Hola.
10 out of 10.
He made it an ole.
Hola.
All right, 8 out of 10.
You can't, in hola, you can't put the accent in the wrong
One more
place.
time.
Hola.
4 out of 10, but it's not the 0 out of 10 with the pollo thing. Give him a break. He's from the other side of the planet.
Apoyo? Apoyo.
Come on, dude. He didn't ask for any of this.
Put the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Pollo.
You can't thank people for their support by thanking them for chicken.
Pollo.
So a Sunday night without any game, when we've been doing like day on, every day it's been either the Stanley Cup final or the NBA final. It was kind of weird last night, right? Where it's Sunday's the best
weird,
TV
right?
night of the week. And we had nothing last night.
They left room for the Tonys.
Yeah.
I was mad last night when I learned that this game was tonight.
Yeah.
I was like expecting all weekend for it to be Sunday night.
Well, and then I was worried that the Stanley Cup is going to be going head-to-head with the NBA tonight, but they're taking an extra day too, so we get back to the everyday thing this week.
It was wide open for the Tonys.
Yeah.
Did you watch?
Let's bring Juju
With
aboard.
Tony?
Juju, were you into all the action over the weekend? I mean, the NBA Finals is kind of overshadowing the Stanley Cup a little bit, but every day we're getting great games.
Yes, sir, man. And to remind people that DraftKings is now available in all 50 states. Congratulations to everyone who bet on Thursday Thunder. We cashed out this week, baby. Salute, man.
Hey! How about that? There you go. Juju, how you experiencing the game tonight? How you watching this evening? Are you into it?
Man, I'm going to be watching at the house because we got the live stream tonight on the Le Batard Show page on YouTube, me, Trista, and the gang. But yeah, bro, I'm going to be watching live, hoping that the Knicks can get it done because I feel the same way Mike Scherr feel, bro. I can't muster any hate against the Knicks, bro. It's like I like them for the same reason that I like Wemby. They care. You know, the whole city care, from the fans, the top to the bottom. So you got to love it and root for it. America, go USA.
Juju, you got a top 5 for us here?
Yes, sir, man. Celebrating all the action that happened this weekend. I got a top 5 games from the weekend.
Okay.
Rare list.
All right.
Number 5, Texas versus Texas Tech for the softball natty. What a season for the Red Raiders, but unfortunately, the Longhorns are back-to-back champs. Number 4, Flavio Cavalli versus Alexander Sasha.
Dude, nice. Nailed it.
What a match, bro. I'm talking about excitement from the beginning to the end. Number 3, Game 2, Knicks versus Spurs. Wemby shooting fadeaway jumpers at the buzzer when you're 100,000 feet tall. How about this? Go to the hole. Neither here nor there. Number 2, Mississippi State versus Georgia. Oh!
Dog on dog action.
Bruh, that baseball game was this way, then it was that way, then it was a home run, and it was back-to-back home runs.
Did you
The
guys
Bulldogs
see
are
that
moving
in those super regionals that of the 31 teams that were favored, all of them failed to advance? All of them in college baseball. That's nuts.
Right, Cinderella's everywhere. And the number 1 game from the weekend, bro, you can't even deny this, man. The Carolina Hurricanes versus the Golden Knights of Vegas. Game 3. What a game.
That was good. Dan, you know about blowing that 4-0 third period lead?
They won the game, though.
Well, I was then going to say, do you know about then winning it in overtime after you blew the 4-0 third period lead?
I'm sorry I ruined your cadence punchline. I didn't know that's what you were doing.
All right. You know about that?
Also, Dan, from earlier, I would like to hear more about how you can hear the weekend of partying with Charles Barkley on a mean's tongue.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't like that one, Juju.
Neither did any of the hood, but salute.
Juju, give us a joker of the weekend.
Oh, man. My brother, I hate to do this to you. You got your money. You never showed up. Brandon Ayuk. P.U. What a couple weeks my boy is having.
P.U.
He calling the 49ers little ass boys that they scared. They running from the belt for something. Like, what are you talking about, brother? Put the phone down and go catch some balls off that one machine. Pause.
Juju, we'll get to the polls in a second here, but I don't understand what's going on with Brandon Ayuk. He doesn't want money? He doesn't want to play football
Well,
anymore?
on top of that, he's videoing his crimes so that they can chase him down because he's just videoing that he's speeding, and so they're giving him tickets. It's not something I've seen before where you are an athlete that basically self-reports on yourself and then is accused and guilty of a crime because you put on video that you were speeding.
Like, does he have no friends who are like, yo, man, this is it's kind of stupid, everything that's happening here? Like, there's nobody in his life?
Put it on the poll, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Does Brandon Ayuk have any friends saying, yo, this is stupid?
Should be 100%.
Right, we call that cheddar bobbing yourself in the streets, man.
Cheddar bob.
But let's get to these polls, man. How did the Golden Knights win if momentum means anything? 73% of the audience says yes. Are Mitches having a moment right now? 83% of the audience says yes.
Yeah, I can see that.
Do you know what a shillelagh is?
Is that from Martin?
56% of the audience says
Shillelagh.
It's a better joke than Donna Shillelagh.
56% of the audience say no. Would you try to catch a 409-foot line drive with your bare hand in right field? 58% of the audience says yes, they would. Salute. Are movie theater nachos always the worst? 77% of the audience says yes. And last poll, do pretzels and tea go together? 90% of the audience says no, and those are your polls.
Good job, Juju. Enjoy the game tonight.
Thank you, guys.
It's going to be hard for some people to enjoy the game. Did you guys see the NYPD is saying that starting at 4 o'clock today, they are closing down everything between West 30th and West 35th. You're not allowed to go anywhere near Madison Square Garden if you do not have a ticket. They are going to ruin this night. Trump
is going to ruin this night
Ruin
for
every
New
team.
York. And he's a nerd. Curse.
Well put.
Folks, listen up. The Cup is taking over the U.S., and only DraftKings Sports has you fully covered. The DraftKings Sports app is now available in all 50 states, giving you access to every market and keeping you in the excitement at the speed of sports. New DraftKings customers sign up with code DAN, spend $5 and get $200 in rewards within 21 days. That's code DAN. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Banjo!